Fridays. You have the excitement.
Yes, man. No, man.
Every
All right,
Friday
man, to
morning,
get.
I say I'm going to call Orit.
No, man. All right, have
I
enough
never get around to
excitement with
it.
this regular guest.
Yes.
As a regular pastor, somebody I know, then security, and then, of course, who knows? Some happening.
Yeah, there's always
Something
something going
going
on
on
to
Monty.
stir up our brother on Friday mornings.
And then, of course,
So,
Monty is the best. I like his program. I actually listen to it.
yes, I see that you're.
I'm saying,
Every
okay,
now and then
all right,
I check
Monty
in.
Show. You know,
I
I
check
said,
in.
wow. I wonder who is Morit. Orit is going to bring on this month. Can go? Don't call this person for me.
Yes.
Yeah, so
That's
that is
beautiful.
Orit.
It's
Yeah.
beautiful. All right. Bevan Fairweather, good morning to you. We got to get you an email. She says, can I get an email? I'm just going to ask the producer
Devin is a
to
male
type
or
in
a
the
female?
email. Bevan, Pastor is checking your agenda. Please let him know. It's been on his mind for a long time,
Yes.
trying to figure out the name.
Devin, yeah.
These days, names work either way. Danielle, Danelle,
You
Dinelle.
know the joke with my daughter?
Yeah. Well,
It
what's the
was a
joke with
joke.
your
It wasn't
daughter?
a joke. That was a boy. His name was Daniel. I said, but it's a girl. So she became Daniel. But whoever it was, the name that was given to us was that he or she would have been. We said he would have been Daniel. And we had bought blue stuff, So
Yeah,
people
yes.
can actually it can make me miss agenda because we did all the things and it looked like it was a little boy there.
What does it mean? What does it all mean that you were hoping for a boy? Were you hoping for a boy? Or it didn't really
But
matter,
it
but
didn't
you
matter
thought
to
it was a
me.
boy, so you were
Yeah,
all over the blue
blue.
stuff. But it
Yeah.
doesn't matter though. Girls love blue. Blue was my favorite color for many years.
What's your favorite color now?
I think red.
Speak of the crimson blood. Of the blood.
No, because it suits my skin tone.
Okay. Oh, so interesting.
Yeah.
Blue is my favorite color. It's my favorite. It's cool. It's cool. It's relaxing.
All right. When you set up
Soothing.
your political party, you'll go with blue.
Blue. But somebody has blue already. Remember, NDM has blue already.
Yeah, but they say we're a movement, not a party.
Oh, I see. So that's why they
Anyway.
moved.
All right, we're not going to make jokes about our political aspirations. It's way too serious.
No, it's become very, very serious. There are a lot of things that are happening on the political scene. One man has declared there's no place for independence in the Jamaica Labour Party. That was JC Hutchinson, I think, 2 days ago.
Yes.
And then there was the fact in terms of Western Portland when Blight was trying to, the three councils that had
Defected.
resigned, yeah, was said, no, we're not coming back. So, that's not happening.
Yeah, Dr. Blythe was trying to negotiate
Yeah, a return.
a return. Um, but it's interesting that they took their weight and created a new majority. They joined the JLP, and I'm wondering if they are planning to remain as independent candidates
Election.
in the next. Yeah. The truth is, we need a lot more independent
by the-
candidates. Yeah.
And that's
And
how Jamaican politics has started in terms of when they, with adult suffrage and people could vote, a lot of independents were in the house before the PMP and JLP
lock
became
it down.
entrenched
Yeah,
in
lock
what
it
they
down.
do.
So it's let us pray for the return of men and women to politics who are voting and moving based on their conscience and how they perceive the needs of the people and their ability to meet those needs. It will make a difference.
Wow.
There's a move that I foresee, and I would love for us to be a part of it, meaning the Morning Connection, where persons who have influence or just an opportunity to guide public opinion begin to do active endorsements of candidates. Evaluate a candidate, consider what the candidate is offering, and match it against what the people are expecting. Become a part of the analysis of what's on the table, and say yay or nay. So you could say the Morning Connection endorses Percival Palmer for this community. Because we've gone in, we've spoken to the candidate, we've spoken to the people, we've put ourselves in the mix of debating issues and so on. And at the end of the day, we can say this one will do it, that one won't do it, this needs that help. And we can say we endorse this one. And we give them opportunities, to reach and communicate and connect with people. This is something that I believe is actively needed in the country, and persons need to develop the boldness to do it. So if you're a service club, say you're a service club operating in an area, you can become part of the decision making, vetting the candidates. So they come to your meeting, they speak on issues, you question them, and you can say, yeah, there's something going on with you, or no, you're not ready.
That's kind of interesting, because I think if, like for the US, they do that very much. They openly go out and endorse based on
their assessment of what candidates are offering
stands on different issues.
On different issues, yeah. The church should do it. The church should absolutely do it.
But the church does it indirectly, because
we don't want to talk about no indirect. Everybody do it indirectly.
So election time comes,
and a man come for prayer.
They come for prayer. No behind the line coming for prayer. They come, and some of them have actively come to the church and says on both sides. And
bless me, Father.
And you listen to what they're saying, and I'm saying, okay.
Well, hear what? The both side thing won't work, because you can't endorse the two persons for the same post.
Why not?
Percy, only one can take it.
Yeah, but you endorse them and says, okay.
I think you misunderstand endorsement.
But
you wouldn't do well in that pit.
But what do you think? Think about it a little.
No, you cannot endorse both.
Why not?
One must be better than the other, because people are voting, and your endorsement is meant to give voters confidence in one direction as against the other. You cannot endorse both. I'm taking you off the committee. I think we're going to have problems.
You take me off of the committee? Why you quick for the endorsement?
No, what I want to do is put you in further training and then throw you back in.
No, I don't want no.
You need more training, man. You can't, listen, you can't say, yes, you'd make a good prime minister. Yes, you'd make a good prime minister. You must say you'd make a better prime minister than that one.
What's that meaning that way?
Yes, that's what an endorsement does.
Yeah, but I don't know. I'm just thinking about it.
It's so funny.
Okay. So
but we should.
You ask them what it is.
You got to score them.
You score them. But
you have to score them.
Suppose it's a draw. What you do?
Ask another question. That's a tiebreaker.
Suppose you keep getting a draw.
What they do in football again? Penalty. Until you get to sudden death. Sudden death.
Scoring that one. Win.
Yeah. No, but there's always going to be a favorability rating that will come from another source. You can say Morning Connection cannot choose between these two candidates. They are both excellent candidates. Let the people decide. And then it's a question of who comes out on the morning to vote. So you're going in conscience, So if you truly find two candidates who are excellent, if any one of them you choose, you're good.
Yeah.
You say that. You said these are two excellent candidates.
Right.
Whichever you choose.
So that is still endorsement, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, it wouldn't be a specific endorsement. It would just be an opinion.
Okay. So the opinion you saying don't endorse them. It does say two excellent candidates.
Yeah.
On the morning.
Up to you. Who comes out will. It doesn't matter. You won't lose. But the whole point of it, and why I'm saying it, and why I believe that we should go in that direction, it's because a lot of persons either don't have full information, or they don't have the capability to do the full research, or they don't have the interest to look beyond certain superficial or surface issues to go deeper.
I can agree with you.
Yeah.
So therefore, to enable that, I think one of the things we should do is to come up with what you'd call
What, the
the job,
checklist?
a job description or a checklist
A
as
checklist.
what
Yeah.
you should look for in your local government
Candidate,
what you
yes.
should look for in a member of parliament. These are the things.
A prime minister.
Right, those things
Yes.
become
Yeah.
important.
And
It goes
then,
back to constitutional reform.
absolutely. Well, listen, man, all roads lead to covenant. And the part that is kind of exciting me now as I, make it up as I go along.
Oh, you're making it up.
No, as I move under the inspiration of the Holy Spirit. Better?
Yeah.
All right. The other part is you can then retain professionals to do some kind of psychometric analysis, which the average person would not really. You looking at the candidate would not say, you know what? Let me bring my psychiatrist to come and do a. Yes, yes. Well, we wouldn't actually subject them to that, but you know that
No, but
in certain professions
you have to do
you
that.
have to
Like
right
if you're going to the police force,
ought to be these days.
yeah. So it is. It
So
becomes standard.
you can engage your psychoanalyst, you can engage your spiritual profiler, you can bring in some experts to say, look at this man and tell me, is he a good fit for this job? Is he a good
Emotional
fit?
intelligence.
You
know
can
that we
absolutely.
You know that we can actually now score people in terms of their emotional.
Of course, yeah.
That's where it has gone to.
Yeah.
In terms of emotional
Yeah.
intelligence.
And really,
yeah.
I mean, in countries that really invest in this effort, when a candidate is being prepared to face the electorate, they put them through a series of evaluations to make sure before you spend all your money down the road, you hear that he's a pedophile
Oh, geez.
or
Well, but okay. The first thing is, so seeing that we are speaking about candidates and what we want in our representative,
yes,
so we should come up with job description. In terms of if somebody is going to offer themselves for public office, there are certain things that we believe are very, very important for them.
yeah,
Okay. And so we've come up with a job description, and it's kind of interesting because in scripture, if somebody was being put up to become a deacon or a bishop or anything, there are something that ring true. Let me see if I can
he must have one wife. I remember that part. Men of good report.
Yes, so you cannot.
So
you cannot
character references are important.
Yeah.
You must
Have a
be
good
of good
reputation
report
within and without.
yeah.
That
And you must have control of your household.
Yes,
So that you have one wife
it's important.
is
And even when they had the dispute, it's kind of interesting. With the early church, when they were doing and they became, there was a rift because they said, they are treating favoritism. They're treating the Jewish widows better than
The Greek.
the Greek one.
yeah.
And the apostle said, God has called us to do certain things. But look for men. Let me find it. Look for men who, if they're full of the Holy Spirit, I think we should have put that.
That they're full of the Holy Spirit. Speak in tongues.
I never even go there, so I'm not talking about that. Men of good
report.
good report.
Yeah.
Um,
Which you correctly characterized as meaning a good reputation within the church and without. I remember that they should have one wife. You're not remembering that part? And they should be in charge of their household, meaning they maintain order in their family.
And that becomes important.
And then you have to pray over them.
Or you see and know everything. What do you think of this one? It was interesting.
You're hunting it down?
Yeah, fine.
Yeah, this when they were looking for men to take up the slack in the administration of things.
Yeah.
All right, Acts chapter 6, verse 3.
Yeah. said, this is what you need to
Choose 7 men from among you who are known to be full of the Spirit and wisdom.
do. Wisdom, important.
We will turn this responsibility over to them. And this was to wait tables and handle distribution of welfare benefits amongst the widows.
So there is no,
It's very much a political position.
no, it's not
Administering welfare
No, it
benefits amongst the
no,
poor.
we
That's
say,
local government.
yeah. So select 7 men who are well respected and are full of the spirit and wisdom. We give them this responsibility.
Now, when the men were selected, the apostles took them, prayed over them, laid hands on them, and set them to work.
Yeah.
Stephen was one of those.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, understand that it can lead to martyrdom if you are selected. I like to give the warning.
Yeah, but it is true.
Yeah.
Because you are going to be subjecting yourself to deep public scrutiny. And that can become very nasty.
Very ugly.
Very nasty.
Yes. All right. We've turned on a dark path.
No.
You don't think it's a dark path?
No.
First, we started peacefully speaking about endorsing persons and promoting them for candidacy. And then we start to tell them about the risk that you may die. You may end up stoned to death by an angry mob who feel that your ideas are too radical and you're going too far.
In terms of the reforms that they need to put in. But we need
Yeah.
to, I like the part that it says men of wisdom. Because wisdom, and we have spoken about wisdom, and nobody's looking at it. Wisdom.
Men and women, please.
Men
Let's
and women, men and
remember
women, men
that.
and women. And you know, I found it significant. When you read Paul, like in Romans 15, and I'm going to go to it quickly, because some people have to believe that women must not serve in ministry. But if we use Paul as an example, he said, you know, he goes to, he says, I commend to you Phoebe, who's a deacon in the church.
Yes.
Welcome as a one. In something it says one who was sent. And then he goes in Priscilla and Aquila. And he goes
Lois,
mother. And he says
Eunice.
Phineas. A
lot of women.
A lot of women.
Of course.
Who were co-workers.
And financial supporters,
Yeah.
both of Jesus's ministry as well as of the work of the apostles.
And then what Paul does when he says, speak to this guy. These are 2 women, Tryphena and Tryphosa.
Tryphena and Tryphosa.
And then he says,
Sounds like twins.
yeah. And then he says, look at all of these ladies and the brothers and sisters who meet with them. And then look at that. A lot of women are there. And
Even,
they were laborers in the ministry.
And not we like to
roles.
we like to accuse Paul of being the one to bad talk women. And sure, he said some things which could be taken quite strictly. But even if you look at Peter, Rhoda, when they were praying in one place for Peter to be released from prison,
Rhoda.
when he knocked, it was Rhoda, it was a woman who opened the door. So even the Orthodox Jewish custom of women in one place, men in one place, because they don't sit in the assembly, in the same assembly, in one assembly, in synagogue, even that practice of separating the genders was discontinued, or it was not adhered to in the new church, because they prayed together, they sat together, and in fact that was what led to Paul speaking so harshly against women making trouble in the assembly. Women were not accustomed to being in the assembly with the men. And when under the new church, they were worshiping together and issues arose, well, you know us. We are not going to sit down and take the foolishness. They said and let their own.
It's like producer preaching.
Yeah.
And the women are there. And this is a new experience.
Yes,
and
yes.
What him say? Explain it to me.
Well, no, I think I don't think that's what they were saying. I don't think they were saying what him said. I think they were saying nonsense.
I don't think.
What? No, it doesn't work like that.
Why you take it that
and
way?
I believe that's why it became problematic. They were not causing disorder as in confusion, because they were causing disorder, challenging and wanting to dispute and debate issues that were coming up in the assembly. That's why he said, talk it out with your husband at your own yard. Do not bring and there's a style to how women interact. We're generally spontaneous. If we hear something,
That's
there's
why
a
I said let
rustling
them
of the skirts,
let them be
and
silent
and asking questions too, because remember, even
because they have the right to ask
being
questions.
learned in the law was new for most of the
That's what I'm
women,
saying. That's why they
so
were
they would
asking questions.
ask
I say
questions.
explain that.
Well, you were saying, why I'm saying like they're not here, like we had a hearing.
No, no.
Oh,
I
that's
don't. You know,
okay.
explain that for me. What is he saying?
Yeah.
I'm not understanding.
Yeah.
So I say, and it would become very disconcerting in there. All the questions backing and forthing and things. But
Yeah.
anyway,
We bring vibe and energy.
me dear.
And the men were, so I guess I can imagine it was colorful and noisy. Men not used to that.
Yeah, what
So
was it?
Paul said, order.
Yeah,
And it was really about maintaining order. And he was borrowing somewhat from King Xerxes' court
you gone
when the
back there
nobles
again.
told him
Like,
that
if
this
you,
disrespect in your household, quell it because it will spread.
oh
Paul
Jesus,
was saying, in a household where man is head of the household, issues that need to be debated and discussed,
must be discussed at home.
let the leader of the house
We talking. We
handle
come
it,
back. We
handle
come
his
back. We
business.
will come back. It's now
Do
7:01.
we have a leader of this TMC house? I think we do.
Best 100 FM is the authentic voice of Jamaica, promoting your prosperity with better vibes and better music. Let us promote your goods and services for you. Advertise with us. For more information, call our office at 876-276-8935. That's 276-8935.
This is your beloved Pastor Percy from the Morning Connection. Support our commitment to Jamaica by joining us on Wednesday mornings at 7:30 when we pray for the nation. Show us you care. Advertise with us. For more information, call our offices at 876-276-8935.
welcome back. You know, Percival and I wandered into a well lit place a while ago. He asked me, why does darkness hate light? And thinking about it for a heartbeat, I said to him, when you understand the main characteristic of darkness, which is the absence of light, you understand that darkness itself does nothing, doesn't have the capacity to do a thing. And we go back to in the beginning when the world was without form or substance, and darkness covered the earth. And the Creator spoke life into this place of darkness, and light entered, which is why we're people of light. So I was
why there's so
explaining to
much-
the pastor,
So why there's so much darkness in the world?
because the people of light have not moved to dispel the darkness. Darkness is without animus. Darkness does not move, has no life, no substance to it. The people of light need to move into the territory and dispel the darkness. Which is why I said to you, a thing to come, I am prophesying it. And maybe, no, I am prophesying it. It is the will of God. It is what God desires for us. A thing to come in our political landscape. Civil society institutions are going to become more active in evaluating political candidates and in endorsing them publicly. We will now say candidate A is not fit for consideration. We are going with candidate B. Now, we might not necessarily say candidate A should go home. We will just say candidate B is the choice. And
Should
the
go
morning
home.
connection, we won't tell candidate A what to do. Or whichever candidate
You're
you
just
don't
saying
choose,
based on the evaluation.
you'll say candidate
Right.
of your choice. And the other one should know. And if you are so inclined, you could say that this one lacks this, that, or the other, and this one has the qualities.
So therefore, in order to make such a pronouncement and endorsement, there are standards that we
which
would
you would
have set.
evaluate. There's a
All right.
process of rigor that
Right.
you would go through. You would participate in the debates, fund the debates, give them airtime so they are visible to the electorate. But more than anything else, it would mean that light is moving to dispel darkness.
The whole plan is wonderful. No, it's
Thank you for your endorsement.
It's wonderful in the sense that we have to get in early in terms of the education. And I think we've been doing that in terms of seeking to educate person about what the real essential issues are. Because
Yes.
the PR can cloud up, can mess it up, and people can drive the narrative, which is not godly. And we have experienced that over the last 2-3 years in our public discourse in
Yes.
terms of, I keep telling people,
Yeah.
in terms of the narrative of fear. I was with some pastors, and I was saying to them, if we are persons of faith, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And our kingdom is a kingdom that operates by faith. Why is it that we have allowed for the powers that be to drive the narrative and use fear when we should be out there speaking and saying, no, this is not so? And I think I must commend you in terms of you have used your skill sets, your knowledge, to point out to the powers that be, hello, if you're going to take away people's rights, remember this was a major thing when we just started,
Yeah.
people's rights and responsibility. I said, because you have a public emergency.
Does your commendation come with a order of Percy? Or
No, not the other person.
you get a medal? A certificate
you
even?
get more prayer, sister. I think
More
that's
prayer.
it. You get more prayer.
MP.
You get more
I go
prayer.
with MP.
You get more prayers. No, but it's true because,
Oh.
and I was saying to people, with that, it caused for people to think again in terms of some of the things that they were doing. And we're saying, You must just follow what it's saying. But he said, but according to the covenant, you can't do that. Not beyond a certain time.
Yes,
And that
yes.
is why the
Yeah.
education is
It's important.
so very
Yeah.
important.
Well, I have to commend you for your great bravery in sitting beside me Monday to Thursday and moving along with these ideas. This one that we're currently discussing and which we shall pursue because
It's
it
important.
is the doing of God, as my pastor liked to say. We we are given certain skills, talents, knowledge, whatever it might be. The only purpose of it is for the betterment of your people. It can't be for
It's for
anything else.
freedom.
It's
It's for
push for
freedom.
that freedom so we can
It's
serve
for
God
freedom because
proudly
I was
and
saying to you
fully.
that the freedom and when we're talking about I'm saying there are four key dynamics: me, you, God, society.
Yes.
Because you
Yes.
are free from, but you are free to
Two.
do something. Your freedom is not just about
It's with
it's
purpose.
with purpose. There is a purpose. There's a goal in mind, and so we have to just continue to say it to everybody. It becomes so important. You're not free just to be free.
So have you given some more thought to why why it is light that is at fault and not darkness?
I agree with you.
Okay.
No, I know because I agree with you because God God dispelled darkness. He spoke a word. He said, "Let there be light." And the Spirit of God, which is within each one of us, moved
Move with
and
it.
became so creative. So the Spirit of God within us helps us to create and to remove the darkness therein. And the Spirit of God, which is within us. And God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of love, of power, of a sound mind. And therefore we can speak into a situation. I tell people, when I get into a situation, I tell people, it must change. It must change because I carry the Spirit of God within me, which He
You're
has
the
given to me.
you're the salt and
And
the
the light,
light.
yes, so it must change.
You
I
must
move, I shift
flavor and
atmospheres.
season.
I go
Yes.
into place and I must shift atmospheres. It must change. That's
By
what
the
God,
yes,
the
yes,
power
yes.
of
By
God
the
that is
power
in
of
us.
God.
And we're not
Yeah.
bragging, it is just who we are and what God has called us to do. If you understand that, move, man. But we have put ourselves into certain situations. I say, no, man, it have to stay so. But God is saying no. And I'm recognizing and seeing people becoming bold, pushing against the narrative of fear. Remember the we're going back into Acts again. They chose these men, and then these same men had to begin to do and to administer, and they continue to get a pushback from the establishment, religious order, and they says, no, man. They prayed and said, Lord, you've seen all of these things that are, but give us a spirit of boldness that we may clearly proclaim that the light has come and we're dispelling the darkness that is there.
Yeah. I'm making a note of it. Sometimes you ask these questions. Sometimes you ask these questions, and it just provokes a thought process. Bevan is weighing in on the darkness light, and she's saying darkness is more than absence of light. Darkness operate in light, broad daylight. But I think she has to go a little deeper. He or she. Darkness older than light. Take my word.
No, I don't think so.
You see, now this is what happens. The frequent misconception and maybe even the deception that keeps us in bondage is to give darkness the characteristics of a living thing. When you do that, you are stepping away from taking personal responsibility for your duty, your obligation to be the light that dispels the darkness.
And I agree. And I keep saying, people, if you, all right, for argument's sake, let me say, Satan is a created being. God is the source of everything.
Yeah, you said created.
Created, yeah.
Okay, yeah,
Created
yeah,
being.
yes,
It's a created being.
yes, yes.
And in God is light, and in is there no darkness. So this created being decided to enter into darkness through rebellion. But what continues to play out is that we're giving more power to this created
Yes.
being that he really
Yeah.
has. Now we need to shift that. We need to really shift that perspective. Eh,
Oh, this is so funny. Bevin says, different light. You're talking sunlight. She's talking
So
sunlight
okay.
versus
Yeah, man.
darkness older than light. Take my word. Okay. And you know, that's a part of what makes it, I think, what makes it confusing for persons to sort of speak within the unity of things. Because if your mind can accommodate it and you pick a starting point, that starting point is a position of oneness, meaning everything is within the creator. Let's call it singularity. You start from a position of singularity. The creator speaks a word and worlds manifest. At that point, out of one comes the many.
Correct.
That's why our motto is a reversal of thought. It's, to me, it's an abstraction in futility.
Okay.
I was saying that to you one day, but
You never take
it's a
it
bit
out.
mine. Yeah, you never take it on. Yeah, because the creative process will begin with one, in whom is everything. So we say one true God. That's why we say one true God.
And in
Him we live, we breathe, we have our being.
Yeah.
Generations of Percival Palmer are locked up in Percival's loin.
Can you imagine that?
Gotta release them.
Yeah, this is-
Who was it? Was it you? No, it was Jason, Pastor Jason. I don't know. Somehow he and Lowell were speaking on parallel tracks. And Lowell said something about, or maybe spiritual children was what Lowell meant. And Jason says, well, like you'd say, God has permitted my wife to release 3 of them or something like that. Realize he was talking about his biological children. Yeah, but within each person, nations are locked up in the loins of individuals.
Abraham.
So it was said of Abraham, and that's why I'm borrowing that line. So in the creative process, it starts with one, the one true God in whom existed everything that he created. And from the one, he spoke and worlds
Came into
being. Now, in the space around the worlds, let's call it that, because quantum physics is studying that deep, deep, deep. The space around the world, because in order for you to distinguish one from another, there must be a separation. And in that separation, there is a space. And man is curious what inhabits that space.
They might try to find out. But he knows what in have because he
Yeah.
hugged in the heavens, he put everything in place.
All of it came out of him.
Yeah.
Right. That is the starting position for every discussion about this and that, now and then, one or the other, darkness and light. That's the starting position. So the sun that illuminates a space and brings light-giving, life-giving energy, that is a part of the light that moved in to dispel the darkness and made life possible. So
Okay.
even when we are speaking about the activities in the dark, we are speaking about the activities which can take place in a lifeless environment where there is no light. And when Christ declared himself to be the light of the world,
The light of the world.
he says that light will shine on the places of darkness, the places where activities that do not align with who he is and what he desires for his creation, those activities are taking place in the absence of the life-giving light of Christ.
And it just leads to further destruction
And it just
decay.
absolutely,
Yeah.
it leads back to nothing, to death.
Right.
And we, the children of light, are required
Go.
to spread ourselves out
become light.
and do not allow people to throw a bushel over us. I always wonder what a bushel is, but
A bushel,
throw
like
a bucket over you.
That's what
Or,
it is. Yeah.
and when persons try to smother you and crush you and push you into a place of darkness, they're seeking to remove the light of God from the world, which is an impossibility.
They think
May I
they
say
have
that?
smothered it, but we know
Yeah.
as we come up to our 7:30 break, when we come back, we're focusing on leadership and how important that is in terms of the things. And I'm gonna read some things here, and you're gonna say, "Boy, that was given
All
long
right.
time ago."
Yes, when we return.
Best 100 FM is the authentic voice of Jamaica, promoting your prosperity with better vibes and better music. Let us promote your goods and services for you. Advertise with us. For more information, call our office at 876-276-8935. That's 276-8935.
This is your beloved Pastor Percy from the Morning Connection. Support our commitment to Jamaica by joining us on Wednesday mornings at 7:30 when we pray for the nation. Show us you care. Advertise with us. For more information, call our offices at 876-276-8935.
Welcome back. Oh, Percy has found it. You see, we were talking about
Leadership.
endorsing candidates and evaluating them for their leadership potential and being the bearers of light and truth to dispel the darkness. Percy went and hunted down exactly what we were talking about and looking for, and he has found it. So now, Percy, your turn. What is the checklist against which we will be doing this evaluation?
Now listen to this now. This is from Titus 1:7. An elder must live a blameless life. He must be faithful to his wife.
All right, but let's take it out of the church setting now. We're defining what it means to be a man of good report, full of wisdom, with the capability to lead in a godly way. So we're looking at both local government candidates and we're looking at the candidates for members of parliament, prime minister, and even ministers of government. The elder is who we would use as the metric
And the local
for the local government man. And of him, Titus says an elder or a local government candidate should be.
blameless.
What does it mean to be blameless?
Without any
Because there's no
report.
perfect man.
No, but he must have a good reputation.
Absolutely. So the persons in the community should be able to say, yes,
A good
we know
man.
him to be know him to be honest, hardworking, look after his family, not out and about gossiping and making trouble. If you were to check with the police, he's not a regular on their list. If he came across their radar at all, it might be because somebody complained that he was trying to make peace and interfering in their quarrel. That kind of individual. So that one is easy. Now let's get to the big guys.
Biggies.
Yes.
No, but not having a reputation for being wild and rebellious.
Oh, that's also for the
children. To the
no,
children.
that's also for the local government.
Yeah, because they do the
Go
same.
into it,
with
man. Go into it.
Wild and rebellious.
What does it mean to be wild and rebellious?
He's a wild man. He goes to all these parties. He's no wild. He does wild. You seem to have no self-control. That's what comes to mind. Not saying you can't.
But reduce that to behavior.
Yeah, man.
What is the behavior that would be typical of a wild man? It would mean at least that you're not conforming to what would be considered the norms for good behavior.
And those are set by the
you don't know
society.
how to speak. If you have to deal with a constituent, you're bullying in your approach, or on the opposite end, you're unnecessarily differential, meaning anybody can you're a pushover.
Nobody can tell you anything.
Yes.
You don't have no standards.
You don't have, you cannot be held to right, reasonable, ordinary standards. Wildness, you say you're going to wild parties. Well, I don't know what you know about wild parties, but it would mean you're not even tempered and sober minded.
Yeah,
even if you're enjoying yourself, you've gone way over the top with your enjoyment.
That's true.
Yeah. Then there we use wild to mean promiscuous.
Yeah, true. True. It was is
Your
chicken
candidate.
roots, it is
He's the village
family
ram.
Village ram.
Village ram.
Everybody can look at everybody can say, but
You're not even sure how many children the person have because their name get called so many times. We do not want promiscuous persons
and people
occupying positions of serious leadership. And let's be clear on it.
Must not be a predator.
A promiscuous person will raise questions about whether they are predatory too, because they may not necessarily wait to be offered. They may force their way into situations. And also, it is a lack of loyalty and fidelity. There's no way you can be all things to all men, giving love everywhere you go and leaving children behind.
I like how you said, giving love everywhere you go.
Using polite language.
Giving love. No, but it is a serious thing, you know. It is a, and if you were to go and just reflect on it in terms of our national politics.
Yes.
And the stories you hear about various leaders and how they are, it's not pretty, you know?
In their private life.
Yeah, it's not pretty.
And maybe you could see a direct correlation between Jamaica's stagnation in certain quarters and the promiscuity of our leaders. So we do not want promiscuous. That's part of the wildness. Avoid.
And that is saying, oh, he married, but and he married him.
Oh, geez. So you know he's a covenant breaker.
Yes. And that is important.
And he'll break the covenant with you too. Don't think that the
Because
covenant of marriage is different from the covenant
with people.
With people. You break covenant, that's what you do. Good.
And
So we don't want
I will not being Puritan.
puritanical or prudish.
No, those things, when you think about it, good family life leads to better communities.
Yeah.
So how can you, and it is so hypocritical. Yes, we're talking about values and attitude and how we missed it years ago when Mr. Patterson said it. And people are saying, but you can't do that. A whole heap of things were said.
No, you know, a lot of times the focus in scripture on purity and the way it speaks against sexual immorality, a lot of us mistake it for something that is purely of the flesh, not recognizing that the characteristics, the personality traits, your integrity, these things are reflected in how you treat your body and your private relationships. That's why integrity is about your public self and your private self being of the same caliber, quality, being in alignment. Because if in your private life you're sleeping with anybody who asks or who says yes, you're saying whatever it takes to get what you want. You have no loyalty to one over the other. You're just a free spirit roaming with no particular moral or standard. It means that when it comes to your business life, your public life,
same thing.
It's the same muscle.
Yeah, a man without, word says it in Proverbs, a man who cannot control his spirit is like a city without walls. You remember
yes,
that?
Yes, yeah.
And it's true.
Yeah.
Man without self-control, like a city without walls.
And so we see it reflected in what we're getting in our country.
Yeah, because, somebody was relating, it's a true story there, with somebody, and they're at a table. And somebody says, how did this get here? And it was a note that was slipped to the female that he was beside by a farmer, by a leader, somebody in public life, giving her the number and said she must call him. And this man is married. Oh, jeez. When I heard it, I said,
turn your stomach.
Yes. So this.
So you're sitting at table, maybe it's dinner or whatever social setting. A man is there with his woman.
With his wife.
Yes. The wife receives a number. Who received the number?
Another female receives a note from the male who's sitting with his wife, giving her the number and says she must.
So who's telling you the story?
Somebody was
the wife or someone connected to the married couple or to the lone female?
To the lone female. Just saying. There was one end. No, I'm saying.
I'm curious now, how did she receive it? Because that must be, depending on who you are, it's insulting or it's encouraging.
It's insulting. The lady was like, incredulous. How did this thing? But anyway.
Yeah.
But we're just talking about how important it is not to be wild as an individual, to be a person of integrity in terms of your relationships.
And we're including promiscuity in wildness.
Yes, man.
To be clear. Yes. Yeah. So, and that covers the local government people as well.
And so it's local and because it starts there, but then they begin to build. A leader is a manager, must be a manager, a good man. He must live a blameless life. He must not be arrogant or quick-tempered.
So all those who like to yell at people and like Mr. Warmington, we would not endorse Mr. Warmington.
No, man. Arrogant and quick-tempered. Arrogant means that you are prideful and boastful. You know everything and nobody can talk to you.
Without cause.
Yeah.
Without cause. Because you can have right cause to be boastful or to take pride in what and how you say things. We will come to humility separately. But the arrogant one is the one without cause. That's why it's arrogant. When a man is speaking proudly about something and it's true, you don't call him arrogant. You say him talk truth.
And they say being quick-tempered, it's the word of God say you must be slow to speak and quick to hear. Some people just them have a short fuse.
Yes.
You say anything to them, they can't it again. It speaks to self-control.
Self-control.
You must not be a heavy drinker. Not saying can't drink, must be a heavy drinker.
Must not be a heavy drinker. That not is
You
important.
must not be a heavy drinker, violent or dishonest with money.
Violent
Yeah.
or corrupt.
Yes.
Dishonest with money specifically.
Yes.
Yes.
So those things and it's not, we're not talking about church,
Yeah.
we just talk about
Leaders.
how leaders must be. Because you can't have a leader is not humble and arrogant. You can't have a leader that's quick-tempered. Same thing, shut up, Emma. I've seen that happen with leaders. Bark at people like they're dogs. You know what I'm saying? Really?
Meaning that the leaders are dogs, not the people, because the barking is done by the dog.
No,
Just make- I was making it clear.
No, the leader
behave like dog
yeah,
by
but
barking.
not the people.
Yeah.
Yeah. Must not be a every drinker. Do you know how many people have given away
State secrets.
because them
They
drink
drink
too
and
much?
talk.
You always see it. You always see it in movies. You ever see it in the movies?
Yes.
Yeah, you see it in
When
movies.
our first trip to China, we were taking on a heavy drinking spree. What was it? Rice wine or potato wine? Whatever it was didn't qualify as wine in our understanding.
But it
So
was.
it did not have the anticipated impact.
But it loose up your tongue, though.
No, not ours. The Chinese businessmen with whom we were supposed to be negotiating, they made it clear that they don't start negotiations without a heavy round of drinking. Even the Jamaican women. So it was these tiny shot glasses of a very awful tasting thing that didn't. Yeah, I speak bad of the hospitality of
Whatever it was.
whatever
The
it
drink
was,
that
but
was
yes,
an alcoholic beverage.
because of the expectation that it will loosen
The tongue.
your tongue and the negotiations will smack of greater honesty.
Actually.
Well, you'll say what you feel like. You'll say what you feel and what you
What
think.
what is true in your heart to lose up your tongue?
Absolutely.
Say you can't.
And it give you the courage to say whatever
Oh,
is
my
really in your
Lord.
mind. But you say, no, that can't work.
No, man.
With less liquor, you might not even say it can't work. You would say, we'll take it under advisement.
Violent
While drinking, you'll say that
or
can't work.
dishonest with money.
Yes, so those, of course, the corruption issue
Yeah.
is a big deal. So you are looking for honesty with money. Are you finished? You didn't get to the
Which one?
management of the household,
That-
having one
management
wife. I'm
yeah.
waiting on you to get to having
But
one.
we said it already because I said he must be faithful to the one wife. So when they say these things, the elder, they build, so that's the elder and the
Hold on a
local
minute.
government.
What does it say? Faithful to the one wife?
Yeah.
To the one wife or
to his
faithful
wife.
to one wife?
He must be faithful to his wife. And then it says is a manager of household, so he must live a blameless life. Because it says you go up, if you can't manage your,
Your household. Oh, you can
Right.
manage the country.
yes.
How on earth? Your people in your house don't even pay you any mind when you say something. You have spoken and everybody walk away.
It's not good. That means lack of respect.
Yes. And mean you also lack enforcement capability. All right, you were reading from the Amplified Version, and I have the New King James Version,
So go ahead.
in which Titus says, if a man is blameless, the husband of one wife, because you can be faithful to one wife, but you just mean you're unfaithful to the others.
Okay.
There's a space there. The husband of one wife, having faithful children. So the management of the household becomes important. We, in our politics, tend to disregard how a politician's family life looks. We tend to disregard it.
So isn't that a good example that people must follow because you follow
Yes.
the leaders? Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. And we make all kind of excuses for it. Why, I saw it go. But no, faithful children, manage your household. And then it says, not accused of dissipation or insubordination. You know, old time words to say you don't drink too much and you're not wild and reckless. And then the higher level of candidate now must be blameless,
Not
as a
self-willed,
steward of God,
Not quick-
not self-willed,
not
yes,
quick-tempered,
not quick-tempered,
not addicted
to
to
wine,
wine, not
not
violent.
violent. So here's what we will not expect in our leaders. Do not beat your wife, your husband, or your girlfriend.
Yeah.
Whatever your intimate partner relationship status is, there
beat them.
must be no whisper, murmur, suggestion, hint of spousal abuse. Not for the women, not for the men.
And you know that is a very important thing, because when you beat, if you believe you have the right, but it's to beat a woman, you know that's something wrong in your brain.
Completely. Are we ignoring the producer? Say, don't lay hands on your spouse. But some activity require that you lay hands on your spouse.
When you're hugging them, not
Yes.
when you're beating them. Yeah.
No, some might take that to mean hit them with something. No hitting of your spouse, whether with your hand or an object.
And no spousal abuse emotionally.
Right. To make it clear. Not greedy for money.
Says,
Now,
this
this version,
financially ethical.
yeah,
Not greedy. Not
this
greedy.
one says not greedy for money, meaning now not just that you don't steal it, you can be greedy for it, being so motivated by financial gain that your judgment is warped and not in the best interest of the people.
This one says not greedy for dishonest gain.
This one just said not greedy for money. I love this one because we do have a lot of leaders who make decisions based on the numbers, forgetting how it impacts people in ways that don't show up in money directly. It ultimately shows up in money when you have to scrape them up off the ground and take care of their medical needs and bury their children and their parents. But not greedy for money. We don't make decisions based on money. Hospitable. So you cannot have leaders who don't want to see you, don't want to interact with you. You go to their offices and you have to deal with 10 different handlers
Where you come from?
who are keeping you away from them.
Or in public you can't
In
come
public,
close.
you can't approach. They're so
You can't do a public,
surrounded
you can't
by
ask
their
it.
close protection detail that after a while you don't even remember what they look like. You now start to think that one or other of the security personnel is actually the MP.
Or you only see them when they're making public
And
announcements.
you only see them when they're making their public announcements. You must be a lover of what is good,
Sensible,
sober-minded, just,
fear the Lord,
holy as your Father in heaven is holy,
self-discipline.
self-controlled.
Listen to this. It says self-discipline above reproach, whether in public or in private.
Integrity.
Yes.
And then I'm going to translate this last one because it is speaking about being faithful to the word of God that is planted in you. But this now, because they are speaking about men who are serving in ministry, you have to translate it now to persons
Laws.
who
Covenant.
understand law,
Understand
understand policy, understand covenant, and are faithful to it, so that, says this scripture, they can encourage others and teach others to be equally obedient.
Listen to what it says. Be able to give accurate instruction in sound, reliable, error-free doctrine, and to refute those who contradict it by explaining their error.
Yes.
So it means then you must, if you're a leader, you must be able to look at the law and properly say, this cannot go because this is how it is, and to explain it properly so everybody there are no errors.
So people can be in compliance with the law.
So-
You're not out there breaking the law and saying one set of rule apply to you and the citizens are bound by another set of rules.
No, but
You're not above the law,
Yeah.
and you are also by your conduct, by your speech, your encouraging words, bringing other citizens on board in complying with the law.
But if we were to examine in light of what we have shared,
Oh, please don't do that. We don't want to give failing grades to anybody this morning.
in light
It's
of-
free flowing Thursday. I hear you wanting to start to grade a few people.
no, in light of what we have shared, because that
Yes.
is the standard.
Yes.
The question is, we must ask ourselves,
Yes.
having listened to it, how do we now grade our leaders?
Me no said that's where you want to go.
We must grade them.
No, we can't grade them the same day we teach them.
But
What
but no, but
we're
really,
preparing the invigilators and the markers, those who are gonna do the grading. We're preparing you. You by now must be saying, "Oops, I have a failing class."
yeah, I'm feeling
You might be saying that, which means we need to go out there and do some teaching, because we are the people of light, and it is our duty to bring that light into the places of darkness so it can illuminate, uncover the things that we need to stamp out and be amongst those who bring about the change. So I'm encouraging. If you are a homeowners association, call your local government representative and say, come sit with us and tell us.
What you plan to
look
do.
at the road, look at the this, look at the that. How are we going to approach it? Listen to him, represent himself to you and decide, can I see him going to a higher place and bringing back something that is of use to this community? That's what you do.
That's
you
what we
don't,
must
You
do.
don't look at the color of his shirt and say, well, my shirt is the same color. You have my vote.
And that's why we talk
So
about principles.
at the community level,
Yeah.
we're saying the NGOs, these are the non-governmental organizations that do charitable work in the streets, get to know the candidates, let them come and explain themselves to you, both of them, create
All of them,
opportunities
because
for
remember,
them.
have different parties.
That's true.
working.
There might be.
There are
That
no-
just shows my limited thinking here.
All
All of them.
All other parties come and
Yes,
make your
the
presentation.
independent ones. Start it in the backyards, the church hall, the school room, wherever you can get them to sit down with 10 or 20 citizens who care. And even those who don't care, encourage them to come and listen, hear what it is, evaluate them for yourselves.
And that is so
Homeowners Association, Neighborhood Watch, church group,
NGOs. They have the
group of
the
meddling parents. Rope in all of them, and
Benevolent
begin to
societies.
have. Yes.
all of those.
All right, when we
things.
come back, we're going to just do a little walkthrough of the pockets of people who we believe can be a part of that evaluation of the candidates and preparation of the candidates. So when it comes voting time, we're all more sensible about what we're doing. It's 8 a.m. We're going to take our break. We also have a guest who's going to be joining us around 8:30. Around 8:30, we'll tell you about those guests when we return. They're some favorites of mine. You'll see why I'm all excited. Please stay with us. We're going to be right back. Welcome back. We are at the moment, if you are listening, competing with the noise of one of the princes of the land going to work. Or maybe where we are, it could be JDF. What is it, Percival? Can you see it? There's a helicopter
It's the prince.
passing
Gone to
overhead.
the-
Is the prince gone to work?
Yep.
And he has to be working hard these days because he took over the chief spot in his empire,
Okay.
having sent home
Two.
the junior princes. Oh, yes, we can see the helipad is directly in our line of view. And we're just looking at Mr. Leachin's helicopter settling down on the roof. He has arrived at work. A little distracting, the noise, which is why I'm describing it to you. But we're going to get back to our topic of the moment.
Leadership.
Great contribution there, Pastor Percival, going into the book of Titus. So those of you who are wondering, what should the job description look like? What are the characteristics of the worthy candidate to lead the country, to handle our affairs in high public office? Just go into Titus chapter 1. Everything is there. Everything is there. With a little imagination, you can broaden the headings that they give you and customize it so it speaks to your precise needs based on, what's going on in your constituency.
But there are some principles
Yeah.
of leadership that's across the board in terms of ethical underpinnings, which is what jumps out at us here
Yes.
as we go, as we've gone through it,
Yeah.
not for this honest game. It coming like it is. God saw this time and he released the word and said to us, if you live with these principles in terms of how you select your leaders, you will not have a lot of the problems you're having.
Yeah.
You know one of the things that it does for us, Minette, it helps to build trust. And our trust deficit in this, we have a trust deficit in this country. And if you have leaders who you can trust because you have the principles, you have the job description, they fulfill it, then they're going to walk circumspectly in terms of what they do. When I say they can't fail, but at least you have something. And I say, that's how you must behave.
And it helps on both sides of the fence because accountability, it gives you now your checklist. When you are holding persons to account, what are the things you focus on, what do you look for? And it brings certainty to the relationship. And of course, the bedrock of trust is certainty. We know what we're looking for, so we can rely on
tell
it.
it before.
And you have the advance knowledge.
And even as you talk about one of the things that keep coming back at us, and I think it was mentioned yesterday, the power of recall. To call back somebody,
Yeah.
and just put that in the Constitution, so if we send you and we've told you what you need to do, you're not doing it. It must be embedded in our Constitution.
So you can say, come back, come back.
Man. No, we can't recall you.
Just say, back to base.
Yes, come back.
Back to base. All right. We promised to talk about the guests who are coming on. Do you remember my great excitement speaking on the wealth of culture and the culture of wealth? Because wealth has a culture. And one of the characteristics of wealth that has made me smile in recent times is that big money does not like noise. Did you know that?
Yes, I don't like noise. I mean, like what Elon Musk is going on.
He's making a noise.
He's making too much noise with them X.
Oh, well,
I just say it,
Yes. No. What Elon Musk is doing would not qualify as noise.
Okay.
Noise is the showy
Okay.
behavior, like, over the top display of wealth.
Lamborghinis and
No, Percival, you're
the mess I ask you in a lot of
Lamborghini
people's
is a
mind.
car. It drives. It is not, well, okay, maybe buying 6 and saying, oh, I don't like the orange one. Maybe just being outrageous in your display of
Or the
of
Benz that
wealth.
you were talking about recently.
Which one was that? Oh,
the Benz that. Oh, I think I'll take one of those.
the princes that, no, they didn't say take one. They wanted 3, quarter dozen.
How much did it cost again?
One whole per millions of dollars. House two house money, 3 house money.
In one.
Yeah.
One car.
Yeah.
Wow.
But yeah, that's one of the characteristics, what the culture, the norms, the protocols around wealth. Big money does not like noise. Small money, you can flash it around
And
and
it's
someone
true.
will be impressed. But as you accumulate more and more and
You
more,
want people don't want people to know that you're
more discreet, more discreet,
you know,
more
you
discreet.
know what I did? I before Mussons, the
Yes.
gentleman who owned Mussons and he's passed on and passed
Yes.
it on to Mr. Scott.
PB
Was,
Scott's.
was receiving an OJ. I think it's his grandson or his grandnephew or
Yeah.
something like that. I'd meet the man, and I'd never know where we used to be as a church
Yes.
at a location
Yes.
58. You never know it's him. I didn't know that him did have money because he had a driver. Nobody driving up and down the place. But you never know it was him, man. Somebody said, no, man, that is Mr. Blaze or Blaze in there. Blaze.
Yes, please.
Yeah.
Barbadian white man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm saying, really? And the one more. And the interesting thing was, bring it come for me here.
You heard it first.
Yes, yeah, I
Is this how
heard it
is?
first. I heard it first. Bring it come. Thank you. So one of the things that he did.
Oh, beautiful.
Thank you very much. Bless you.
Behold a late life mango.
Yes.
Smells like a real mango.
Yes.
All right, Percival. We have it for breakfast.
We can share it, yeah.
Yes.
So, but you never know because most people, when them get a little bit of money, them buy. In Jamaica, it's a norm to buy a whole heap of Christian.
Yes, you begin
I was
to-
talking to an individual.
begin to
yesterday.
make noise.
Yes, yeah. I was talking to a gentleman yesterday and he said, he was referring to a group of people and he said, they got some money to an IPO and the first thing they did was to buy a whole heap of Christian. Say no, so they get it. I said, why would they do that? You know? So Mr. Blades, he drove a car. You never believe that this man was one of the wealthiest persons at that point in time
So-
in Jamaica.
I was searching for, I know I saw PB Scott's name in the comments.
Chat, in the chat, yeah.
Right. And someone has asked, they say, good morning, hosts. What do you think about PB Scott being awarded the Order of Jamaica? Do you think that it is for being a large donor to the JLP election coffers? That is the question.
I don't know.
PB Scott,
Mustn't, Mr.
yes,
Blades.
descendant of the Blaze
Yeah.
Musson dynasty,
Yeah.
was awarded an OJ and is amongst the youngest to have
received.
persons to have received it.
Yeah.
Beside him are Shelley Ann Fraser Price,
Yeah. Usain Bolt.
Usain Bolt. Those are the two other remarkable Jamaicans who have received the Order of Jamaica. Now, Usain Bolt, if you are going to measure, if you're going to analyze the contribution of these young ones, you'll see a trend. Usain Bolt, Shelley Ann Fraser, their remarkable deeds, performed on the international stage, based entirely on what is natural, native to their ability. No, well, I guess their ancestors might say we gave them good genetics. But beyond that, they trained,
Hard
they
work.
performed, and they've consistently performed at a certain level. And there is not another person who can say, well, I guess their coach and so on could say
I
we
think the coach has
participated.
received a CD or
And the coach,
Glenn
yes.
Mills for a
All
year
right,
of
yeah.
service. So
I do pause for a moment
I saw it and I wondered. I'm not
when
bad mouth.
persons who step into inheritance and do what they would be normally expected to do, or do what would happen anyway unless somebody burned down the company and thief all the money. When those persons are given high national honors, I paused to reflect on it seriously because I said, okay, do we just keep rewarding people for,
All the shots in that, you know.
well, we're coming to Audley Shaw, the same listener dealt with Audley separately. So I don't know about the level of contribution that Mr. Scott made to the JLP coffers. I don't know. And I genuinely don't think that it is a reward for that kind of contribution, because you can't take away from the fact that the person has been called on to do big things on the nation's agenda, but he's been called on because of the position he occupies.
All right, so these are the persons who are getting OJs. Alder Shaw,
Yes.
Marcia Griffiths, Howard Gregory, who is the Archbishop of the
Yes.
Anglican Church, Charles Johnston, who is chairman of Jamaica Freight and Shipping Company, that's years. Paul Barnaby, PB Scott, chairman and chief executive officer of Musson Group, and now chairman. So those are the persons who are
Yes,
getting
but the point
OJ.
I'm making is,
I understand.
when
That's
a
why
PB Scott
Yeah.
or Adam Stewart, those two come to mind. When those persons step into their father's chair or their grandfather's chair or whatever it is they inherit, and in the pursuit of their own private sector accumulation of wealth objective, they sit on government boards or they take government assignments, and the same thing applied to Don Webby and all of the Grace Kennedy. When those men who are sitting pretty in their own private sector space and get either as good as they give or more than they give, and you then turn around and give them national honors, that makes me, that gives me pause.
All right.
That gives me pause.
So all right. I understand. So
Yeah.
let us go through. We're talking now. This
And
is
then when you
leadership,
mix
you know.
it, yeah, and then when you mix it
With-
now
with all this-
with campaign contribution and those kind of things, it start to look like national honors can be bought. And of course, national honors can be bought.
They can?
Of course.
I go and save up my money to buy one.
Well, I'll remember.
I was saying that, but some of the other people, even as we are honest, people who have given young, so there's Shaw and then Johnston, we know Jamaica Freight. Gregory, for a very long time,
Yes.
has served religion. He was field of religion, Archbishop. He came out recently, and when they were blasting the Integrity Commission, I said, well, they need to be careful what you got. So he has, but then order of distinction in the rank of commander,
Yes.
Colette Roberts reads
But you should tell me what you think about Audley Shaw.
Why? Well, I don't know, you know, when I was looking back at the leadership thing, I remember, I know there are certain things, and when you look, you say, okay. Audley Shaw is a person, you know, let us not forget, in 2008, 2011, when he never failed, he never
Crept out on the IMF.
he never,
Didn't
he
bother
never
go back.
passed a test. He never passed a test.
Didn't bother to go back.
Never passed a test. And we're giving all the things.
All right, let's be fair. Jamaica never passed the test, but he was the man.
Jamaica never passed the test, but
Yes.
it was because of his policies. People are saying, my brother, he's a gentleman who campaigned and says, when he comes back in, we're going to get FinSac. Yeah, we got the FinSac.
The FinSac report.
Yeah, so there are a lot of things you ask yourself about it. There are some other people, Andrew Mahfood, CEO with Cinco Group, Food for the Poor, Dr. Ashburn Pinnock, who is president of America University.
Those are OJs or just other honors?
Other honors,
Okay.
PD,
Yeah.
and Lloyd Waller, who is, so I can understand Waller. O'Neill Grant, who is a trade unionist, recently the immediate past
All
president
right,
of GISA.
so when you
Earl
consider,
Buxton, Arthur Hall, Wayne Marshall, Taurus Riley too, you know.
yeah, so you're looking at them and saying, just the grant of those awards speaks to some leadership capability in these individuals, or I mean, I see more service.
Yeah, service
Yes.
to Jamaica.
Service to Jamaica. Some of them are undoubtedly leaders in their private world. What alignment are you seeing between the characteristics of leaders that we were just talking about and these individuals whom we see are receiving the highest accolades?
Aye, my dear. You say I must not pass judgment, you remember that?
Oh,
You are not following up on your own advice to me. My dear.
you feel a judgment coming on.
Yes, I
Yeah,
will not.
yeah.
I will leave
But-
it out there. People
yeah.
must decide because our criticism in recent time, in terms of national awards, people have said, really? But there's a process, you know. You know, like the Nurses Association lady was saying, she thought they'd have gotten more. Remember that was in the paper yesterday?
Yes. They should say all of the people they put up were.
Yeah, and I know somebody who's receiving one, and she has served for 35 plus years in research, in nursing, and so on. So she's now recently retired. But closely aligned, because she's the godmother of one of my children, I had to congratulate her. Congratulations to you, my dear. But it really, we have to ask ourselves, really now, what causes you to be recognized nationally as an individual? Which reminds me, I'm just thinking about people closer to me. I'm gonna go through the process. Because there's a process, you know, that begins now, goes through. People have to be recommended. So the question is, who recommended them? I remember last year it was a big thing with Reverend Miller. And he said,
That's true.
and said no.
And it goes to a committee and then.
Yeah, and it was thing, and then when it was everybody, it's so for and against. And one of the questions, when Reverend Miller writing book, you know, I wonder.
He's written it as, is it under production?
He's written a book already, but when he writes a book about somebody behind, I'm saying, wow, sir. I've known a lot of stuff. I've seen a lot of stuff. But it's somebody who is passionate about Jamaica and where Jamaica needs to go. And he always saying, our better days are yet ahead of us. That's how he always say that.
But that's always true.
So, yeah, our better days are ahead of us, and make that declaration as a man of God.
Yeah, it's both it's a declarative expression of faith, and it's prophetic, and it is tying into the belief, accepting what is the will of God, that whatever our existence is now, we will translate into a better existence.
We must.
Better days are always ahead of us, no matter how good the former days were.
Yeah.
All right. So we're scheduled to have guests this morning. Producer is trying to just track them down and make sure that we're still on. But there is a creative company called Expressions Jamaica, and they are responsible. They are responsible for a show that is heating up the waves on YouTube called The Bartender.
The Bartender?
Yes. I'm going to show you an episode of The Bartender while we are on the break, and just make sure that they're coming. But we're expecting the producer, writer, director, a one-man army.
Okay, that's how it is. Creative until it gets bigger.
Absolutely. And his partner. You may know him through his dance work with the Dancing Dynamite.
Okay.
Yeah, Orville Hall. We're
All right.
expecting Orville Hall and Shelley Callum to be with us after the break.
All right. back to the morning connection. Wow. You know, this thing of leadership is a very crucial thing. Very, very crucial. Somebody once said that everything rises and falls on leadership.
Who said that?
Maxwell?
Which Maxwell?
John Maxwell. He's done a...
One of our Jamaicans?
Mm-mm.
Oh, the leadership man that writes all these books on leadership.
Yeah. And he said something that was significant, and I shared it with a group of leaders in a certain system across one of the things. And I said to them, you know, if you are walking and you see you're the leader and there's nobody following you, you are just on a stroll by yourself. And it is true, because leadership is about influence.
I'm going to disagree with that.
How you are able to
You know why I'm going to
influence
disagree
people.
with that? Sometimes leaders have to chart a course before the followers join them.
I know, but in the major part, you know that is so. Because how are you going to...
If you're walking in the middle of the day and nobody's following you, you're a leader.
No, I don't mean
But if
that.
it's early morning,
no, not even
maybe you've
early
gone out
morning
to
or
chart
thing.
the course.
You've gone out to chart the course. You're doing what you're doing. But if you are going to lead, you must have people who follow you, believe in what you're saying, trust you, and they therefore will move ahead. You don't think so? I think so.
Jesus frequently walked in the middle of the people who were following him. In the middle.
In the middle of them.
Yeah, you see, when he's surrounded by the multitude, and he's a leader.
But he was able to change
I'm drawing you to servant leadership.
Oh.
Because many times the leader is the one on the floor washing the feet.
Of course.
And depending on the snapshot you get of a leader at work at a point in time, you may not be able to tell that this is the one whom everybody is following. I mean, when Mandela was in prison, for example, when Mandela was in prison, being whilst in prison, still being the first black leader for the nation, for his nation. On the time, on the day, on the occasion when you see him in prison, you might deny that he's going to come out and be the leader.
You wouldn't deny, because they still recognize, because they had so much.
I'm saying you don't know at the time when you see the leader. You don't know what part of the metamorphosis you're seeing. And there are many who are sitting on the throne. Let me say this prophetically now. There are many sitting on the throne and they are dead as a leader and don't yet know it. I'm introducing a new. I'm not disagreeing.
No,
with
I know what you're
said.
talking. No,
I'm
it has shifted from them. It's like David and Saul.
Yes. There you go.
No, it's
Perfect.
David and Saul, yeah. And David
still on the throne.
But he we want to call it his political capital, his ability to govern, and had been removed from him because a word had been spoken.
The anointing was gone. This is something that...
You know, it took David 17 years to ascend to the throne.
I know.
17 years?
I must tell you that there are some historical facts that are not comfortable to contemplate, because when you look at where you are in your journey and you understand where you're going and you're hoping that you'll get there tomorrow, but the reality is, on an average, you're 10 years away from it. And you might look at your age and say, Lord, I'm 30. I wanted to be doing this in my 30s. But the Lord have it set for you to do it in your 60s. Yeah. It takes some doing to stay focused and to stay believing and to keep doing the right things as you're moving towards that place. But the reason I kind of shifted on you with your conversation about leadership and when you see the leader, what assessment you can make about the leader, it's because there are so many who are currently sitting in the chair, but as you said, the kingdom has already been removed from them. And there are some who are in the wilderness hiding in a cave, like David spent quite a bit of time spelunking. Do you know that word?
No.
exploring caves.
That's what spelunking is.
Spelunking, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, and there are some spelunkers
Oh.
who are currently in the cave wondering, how is this gonna work? You have anointed me to lead my nation, and I am here with my hand in the dust trying to make use of ratbat poop, which, by the way, guano is very valuable.
Iguana.
Guano,
Guano.
yeah,
That's it.
waste material from the rat
Oh, yeah,
bat.
because some people use it. Oh, yeah, it's true. Yes, it's true.
I'm waking up some memories
No, it's true.
for you. But so you're in a place that doesn't look like where leadership is forged, but you are truly a leader. Or you're in that Joseph experience. You're in a prison.
You're passing through.
You're in a prison, and the worst kind of lie has been told about you. You're a young man of purity who would never touch Potiphar's wife. Yet she's holding up your cloak and saying, he was here.
He was trying to rape
He
me.
was trying to rape me.
But you know, at the flip side to that, you know,
Yeah.
think about the present day Jamaican man. If somebody offers it to you, them say, I'd be a fool not to take it, but because of your personal integrity, you know, you can't do it. Because I cannot sin against. Remember what his response was? I cannot sin against God and man. It's
Well,
the order. It's
yeah,
the order.
yeah.
Very significant in regards to
Hey,
that.
Joseph's answer was, I did not miss the fact that he said to the wife, your husband has made everything available to me. The only thing he has not put at my disposal is you. I can't break that trust. And then I know you cast your mind back to some of our leaders who did not feel that their colleagues' wives were off limits.
Oh boy.
We've had that.
So you see this thing of leadership
We've
and
had
what we
that.
went through, that checklist, it's very, very important for us. And even in terms of leadership and standing up for what you believe. Do you know Neo? You ever Neo, the star in the States?
Oh, I thought,
the
yeah.
pop star, you know, Neo?
The singer.
The singer, Neo.
Yes, yes.
You know, he say, listen to this now. He says, ladies and gentlemen, this is the truth. I don't know what's happening in terms of this transgender thing, but I do believe I have the right with my children to as parents to be responsible for them. And I don't believe in this. A man is a man, a woman is a woman. And then afterwards, now his publicist come out and says, no, he never really mean that. He said, well, she said that, but this is
What I
me.
meant.
But I'm saying, I will not be bullied because I believe that male is male and female is female.
Okay, so you're saying
Taking personal
an
responsibility.
entertainer in the United States, where media is everything,
Yeah.
spoke from the heart
Yeah.
concerning his own position
Yeah.
on this business of gender fluidity.
Yeah. I'm trying
And he says, as a parent, it is
Because
my right.
at a young
I
age.
establish it. And then his
His publicist
publicist tried to
say no and not. So him,
pull him back from the brink.
and him said no.
And he came out and
said, she said that, but this
Yes.
is what I mean.
So did he fire the publicist?
I don't know if he fire her, but she cleared over a job with him because the positions.
Yeah.
No, you know. So that's really
She tried to
leadership. You know.
save him from what happened to Buju Banton.
Yeah. But there's a pushback. That's
So then you
happening.
see, it goes back now to leaders who make decisions for money.
Yeah.
Because if you are setting your opinions and maintaining privately in your home, you're saying to the kids, don't come here with that foolishness about you feel like a girl today and you want skirt. In your home, that's what you're saying. But out the street, you're saying, oh, well, you know, we must be tolerant and as the Spirit leads you.
No, I'm saying no.
Because he doesn't want to
Integrity.
miss out on his commercial opportunities.
Right, and he says no.
That is an example of how being greedy for money can cause you to
lose everything.
yes, yeah.
And I found that to be remarkable. Oh, you never comment on the incident with the black man who was being. You never saw it?
No.
The video
Which one?
where this guy with the boat in Alabama.
Oh, the fight?
Yes, you saw it?
Terrible.
Saw it?
I think Lowell was. I couldn't understand it because one, of course, if you know me well, you know that any kind of eruption of violence, even when it looks like the black people are finally beating up the white people,
you're
it's
not in that.
abhorrent. No, I am not. I'm not, because you see, and this is where a deception of this age is what I saw. Bill Johnson of Bethel Baptist has a book that he wrote called Raising Giant Killers. And in this book, he's talking about how do you raise your children so they become the David who takes down Goliath.
Yes.
And, you know, it just writes from some principles, which I glanced through the book yesterday. A friend of mine she loved it and used it extensively. When I look, she has underlined, and it comes with a workbook. And both the workbook and the book show good, thorough use right down to the last chapter. And I've been going through it, you know, just picking
Reading
some, yeah. And he wrote on something which he calls false compassion.
Okay.
This is where the world creates what looks like a sympathetic response to the suffering
Of
of
people.
a group of persons,
But it's not really.
and sets up structures that permit you to exact your vengeance, your justice, or whatever, because you were wronged and you deserve to have that injustice sorted out. But the method by which the injustice is being resolved is itself wrong. This is where, if we were to liken it to things that happen in Jamaica, this is where young men go into a farming community with a truck,
Pay their last
slaughter
name.
and steal the people's animals, and when the truck broke down and they are caught, the
They are
villagers set upon them and treat them worse than they treated the animals. Someone might say there is some poetic justice in that, but it is wrong. It's wrong.
And it is
There
wrong
no
because-
there is no place where it is. It's wrong because it's wrong on two fundamental grounds. One, in the will of God, justice and mercy go together. And even when someone deserves to be given the stiffest penalty, the Lord is always merciful, but man cannot resist it. Man can't resist taking full measure. If you were to go to visit Shakespeare and understand why The Merchant of Venice is such a powerful, the oratory of Portia the lawyer, who talks about the quality of mercy and then says, you can have your pound of flesh, but take not one jot of blood. We can't resist going for the whole thing. And
For
we
the whole
take,
hog.
yeah, and then we're going to end up taking more because we don't have the natural characteristic
so
for
it is
mercy.
wrong on the basis that
It contravenes the laws of God as it relates to justice and mercy.
and it contravenes the other one.
And
you
then
said
it contravenes the law of man that say when somebody does a criminal act, the state has the apparatus to deal with it, not the citizen. And I don't think many of us understand the blessing it is for the state to carry the weight of that responsibility. If you and I were to go out there as the avenger of blood and hunt down and kill the person who killed our person, and it continues in a cycle, soon there'd be no citizens left. And our conscience, I mean, you do read and hear people say that it's not an easy thing to take somebody's life.
yeah, because it's the first principle is the sanctity of life, that you don't have the right
Yeah.
to take somebody else's life. That's why, because that is so, as they're saying, when we looked at it, everybody say, yeah, man. They say, okay, the guy did wrong. It in some parts, it was kind of hilarious.
Yes, it was comical. I saw some of it, and then
Imagine them saying, it goes against the narrative that says black can't swim, so the man jump off of the boat and swim.
to come and get his part of the pie.
Yeah, because it was
Oh, I
his son
wondered.
that was being abused.
Oh, so I thought that someone had shoved him in the water, so I didn't see the jump off the boat.
man, it was the boat.
I'm like, they threw him in the water.
No, he jump off and
No, but-
swam. No.
So there are some things too, I very early in the day I realized that I can't be trusted to watch those Kunta Kinte movies, those movies that show
Real.
racism at its harshest, showing you what it was like to see people of your own color being treated a certain way When you walk out on the street and you meet the other,
The white person want to kill them.
you want to
blood
speak
raise
and
up
do
it.
things that, yeah.
So that was my experience when I related to you as growing
Yeah.
up, and my class teacher in grade 3 was white and unknown, and she said, "Must sweep glass." I said, "I sweep my glass, you sweep it yourself." But
You don't take orders from a white woman.
You understand. So you
Yeah.
learn, and you learn, you read, you become better able to rightly divide what is happening and to respond in a righteous way. I think that is
Yeah.
in a righteous way, and I think that's how we need to do it. Some people are talking about it because in Alabama the racism is like it's in the DNA.
Well, yeah, it's very close to the surface. And, you know, it is me with all my anointing and righteousness that I try to live by. I wouldn't trust myself in that environment.
Yeah, and you see that is
wouldn't.
you see that is so important. You will recognize, and a lot of us
It's
get
hap-
into situations and we don't recognize. There are some situations, the word of God says, "If flee the very appearance of evil." So if I say no, let somebody else go, I don't think I'm at the point. And it is being honest with ourselves that we really know. Most people are not honest with themselves.
No, I mean,
And that is why they get into all of these things and them say, if you didn't know, you must know
and,
yourself.
and some people crave something, not really knowing what they're craving.
Right.
We didn't say vengeance is mine, said the Lord, but that's another principle.
Yeah.
The Lord will avenge those who, and he can do so because he knows everybody's heart and he is weighing everything and he
And
understands.
he's sovereign. Let me say that
yeah.
again. He is sovereign. Let
I
me
think it's
speak that in the,
sovereign supermarket.
no, he is sovereign.
He's
That's
that
why
sovereign?
I trust him. No, he's not that sovereign.
He's that sovereign
God.
too.
Yes, he's there, but you know what I'm talking about.
I'm messing with you.
Yeah, man. Sovereign.
Free-flowing Thursdays.
He's sovereign. He's sovereign.
I'm flowing freely. Yeah. And so there is that which is not to be ignored. And there's a reason why God says, leave the vengeance to me. For one, I have the hearts of all men in my knowledge, in my contemplation. I understand who has done wrong and why. And so I can mete out the justice and the mercy in the correct proportions. You down there, you're only responding to your feelings, what you see, what you hear, what you think, how it look. So you're bound to overreach.
I know the wisdom of God. It's just the wisdom of God. I rest in the wisdom of God.
So he has taught me and explained to me why, yes, Minette, they wanted you dead and they wanted you in prison. And there are all kinds of unspeakable things that they wanted to see happen to you, my precious daughter. But it is not for you to go in and pull out your own justice. And please don't be impatient with me when I appear to be slow in doing it. I know what I'm doing. So all you out there who understand that Minette is expecting to see you pay, just understand that I am being patient because my Father in heaven says, I got this. And I see some things happening already, you know. You know how Elijah said, I see a small, you know, the servant told him, I see a cloud the size of a man's fist.
Yeah.
I see the cloud. There will be an abundance of rain.
Amen.
I see the cloud. And I know that that abundance of rain is going to drown some people who have been an obstacle, a hindrance.
I like what you say, drown some people.
Going to drown some people. Yeah, because, you know, the Lord giveth and the Lord taketh away.
Blessed be the name
Blessed be the name of the Lord. All right. That's so much on the personal side. And it's to encourage others who feel like the field is not level and I've been waiting on this Lord who says vengeance is mine. I've been waiting on him to level it.
You're waiting on it?
No, there are people saying, I've been waiting. Lord, how long? Not unreasonable to say, Lord, how long? But it is as long as it takes. It is in God's time, to quote another famous person. It is in God's time, and his timing is perfect. So this is to encourage myself. Am I encouraging you also, Pastor Percival?
Yeah, man,
you're waiting on something.
And you wait, and some people have said to me, let's do it. That says, oh, this, when I move from corporate to ministry, something happened. Somebody said, oh, you're just so calm. But before the incident happened, somebody did something to me. I said, well, push up yourself and go into the front because you are better
What?
equipped than the thing.
Even the choice of words would be a turn off. Push up yourself and go to the
The
front.
yes, push up yourself and go. And then I read in my devotional time when Jesus came and he was anointed and baptized by John. He was baptized by John and anointed by the Spirit from heaven. And then it says that the people are leaving from John to go to Jesus. And they said, see, everybody are leaving and I desert you. And John wisely said, a man cannot receive anything unless it is given to him by God. So a lot of people rush out to grab, and it grab as it grab it gone because it was never given to you by God. And so that is why my encouragement to people, don't look on what is happening with the other person. Just focus on what it is that God has said, what God is saying to you, walk in purpose and watch God do what only He alone can do in the situation. I think I'm talking to somebody out there this morning.
Yeah, but the other thing that John said, which fits into what you're saying too, I must decrease so he can increase. It's recognizing too that things move in a flow. In the day of John's ascendancy, they came to him because he was preparing the way for another. When the other enters the stage, you can't be greedy and grasping and grudgeful that the people
I
are
want
moving.
to be center stage still.
But we see so much of that. That is what frustrates succession planning in this nation. That persons who need to prepare the way for others, when the other time comes to enter the stage, they are still there on the main stage, sucking up the air and the people's approval, not moving out of the way. And I am not being ageist in my comment, but we do suffer from poor succession planning across the board in this nation. Remember yesterday, one of our callers talking about the home guard.
Yes.
And on my way home, I was saying to Lowell, no, it is a source of puzzlement to me that a good idea was planted, it took root, it grew up, persons saw the benefit of it. How did it die? How does it die?
But you said it on the program. You never passed on. And the same thing you have to do with your children.
Of course. But that is where it begins.
Yeah, and it is a part of good leadership to look, to raise up, to say, okay, I've done what I needed to do. Well, no, man, I did it. You remember in the statement, said, my generation fought for this. No, we have accomplished. Now, what is it that you must do? And pass it on, but then dash away, gone all over the place.
Well, his son did a fair turn.
Yeah, but we have not moved beyond.
But then he had a lot of children, and which of his kids doing a fair turn? You remember I spoke about that already?
Yeah,
Where are they?
Yeah, in terms of the thing. But we just talk about...
You can do such an excellent job in your own time, but if you fail to prepare someone to continue when you leave the stage, and if you fail to get off the stage when your moment is over, all the good work that you did is counted for naught.
And it's not only for ageism. When we come back, for people, the time don't move.
All right, we'll return. Welcome back. All right, so I found my guest. He's gonna look a little blurry-eyed because he tells me he was up until 2 a.m. editing. But for those who love the bartender, you will no doubt say that it was a good investment of his time. So the bartender is an episodic YouTube movie shot in Jamaica by this Jamaican team. The actors are Jamaicans, and it is creating storm on the internet. Of course, you remember Jody Eden, the presence of God was with us for a spell, and now she's full time in university. Yeah, Eden connected me
Okay.
to this really great group of Jamaicans who, and you'll hear his story. Hopefully, he has enough energy to get here and to tell you a little bit about himself. But if they don't make it in time, because we do end somewhere around 9:45, close to 9:50. If they don't make it, they will come another time because yours truly genuinely believes, with great urging from our Father, the Creative One,
True.
that there is much wealth to be unlocked in the culture of all peoples, not just Jamaicans. Jamaicans have a certain appeal, and the world is just fascinated by us and the things that are happening in the name of entertainment. People are making money in this country, just putting themselves, just sharing. I'm not going to say putting themselves on display. That might sound like something else, but just sharing, sharing how they live, what they do, and so on. So he created this. It's going, I think it's in its third year.
It is?
It's in its third year. Yes, Pastor,
Since
we
you
are
told me
out of
about-
it.
since
He
you-
started it during pandemic,
Okay.
2020. So it's in its third year.
Wow.
And it's growing, growing, growing. So it's going to come.
views as yet?
Oh, long time. Yeah.
1 million views and seriously?
Let me see if anybody on this live chat, any of you guys know the bartender? Check it out on YouTube. They have their own channel, Expressions Jamaica, I think is the channel. Watch a segment of it, and when the creator, producer is on in another 15 or so minutes, let's be able to chat with him and find out what goes into making a Jamaican movie on YouTube. Because that's really what he's doing.
You cannot say just have 2 cameras and you have your place and you just do it.
Sounds that thing, Percy.
You tried it,
I think
no?
a dream is born.
A dream is born. Because there's something that I want to do.
Yes.
Of a movie.
And you have it locked up in your loins for far too long. You need to release.
You think I joke?
You need to release. I mean, I'm one to talk. At the height of my desire to write, I said, all right, I'm going to contact a publisher and blah, blah, blah. So I did, wanting to put in motion something that would, oh Lord, now I start hiding from the publisher.
Oh, the publisher keep calling
They
you?
send me emails, and once they call me and said, do you still want to write that book?
Yes, you're going to write that book.
I am going to write that book.
You need to write
The
that.
truth is, it's not even am I going to write it. I've written it. There are different things that I felt compelled to write, and I wrote them.
Okay.
And they're in storage on my hard drive.
Oh, wonderful.
It's to get it out and to
You must
feel
send it and edit
motivated.
it and things.
Yeah. And I have one of my sisters, not my blood sister. No, I'm talking like you, but she really is a sister of the heart. She's written, I mean, I want her to come back and talk about what she's done. She's written like a series of books.
Kids' book?
Yeah, for kids on basic science concepts and so on.
I know you're talking.
That are really great. And I've seen the artwork, and they're now it's on
Amazon.
Amazon. It's available on Amazon. I'm gonna get some more information. I said, check it out. It's a great gift for your, primary school, your
Primary
grade
school.
6 high school, first form, second form. It's a great gift for someone at that stage.
Okay.
She's written that, and she's written another book too, which is more autobiographical. And I'm just so impressed that, the diligence and so on. Yeah. So I have mine on the hard drive. But when
I have another book.
my friend told me about, writing her book, one of the questions I asked her, because I did a proofreading of it, and I asked her why she wrote the book, because I realized that
Cathartic.
the why of your writing, it is what sets the stage for your perspective. And sometimes it's why people don't publish. Because if you've written it just for your own release, cathartic, as you say with your psychoanalyst self, if that's why you wrote it, then once you've written it, mission
good.
accomplished, it stays there. And, maybe 10, 20 years later, one of your descendants will look at it and say, what? This is worth sharing. And it will be a bestseller. But you long gone. Yes.
Conspiracy of what?
Of dunces. Oh, there's a brilliant book. Oh my goodness.
The
But this book,
Conspiracy of
a
Dunce.
conspiracy of dunces, a very well written, satirical, very humorous story, written by a young author who committed suicide, and it was his mother who found the manuscript, sent it to publishers, and it just became a sensation. But he had actually got a few rejection letters on it.
Okay.
But after he died and his mother read it, and the main character in the book, there's a statue of him in front of the store in New Orleans. It's a fictitious character, but the book did so well. The character was so vibrant that he has become a part of New Orleans history. So if you look for A Conspiracy of Dunces, it's one of my favorite books that I shared with Lowell. Yes. What is Big Truck saying about Bartender? Big Truck. With a name like Big Truck, you would have watched Bartender. Yes, I loved the Bartender when it was running back then. I don't know. It is still available, my friend. So it was an action-packed episode. Still available. And in a short while, if Orville Hall makes it, you'll get to see the brain behind the show. I'm very encouraging of that kind of talent and activity. So, Pastor Percival, I look forward to interviewing you and doing a reading from your book once it is written.
I have one that is.
I love
one
to
that
do
is.
dramatic readings.
No. No, I have a book that is really more on mentorship and work with young people in terms of a workbook, and it's there with the. So you have the textbook and the manual that we're doing now to work with it. So it can be helpful for people
All right,
who
come.
are working with young people.
Let's share a little bit I don't want to go too deep until when the guys are on their way here. So we're going to share a little bit from what's going on the chat. Big Truck makes a comment to us. This is something that we talk about all the time. He says an eye for an eye is going on in Jamaica every day, Minette. And so it allows me to tell him what the Lord wants everybody to know, that the prescription an eye for an eye is about proportionality. It is not about vengeance. If a man takes an eye from you, you're only entitled to take an eye from him. You cannot take off his head and say, well, I take the two eyes. It's about proportionality. And I wish proportionality were alive and well in Jamaica, because it's one of the principles comes straight from God's throne. It's about justice. You do not do more than you have to do to achieve a right solution. And some of us, we are disproportionate in how we behave. We approach the buffet and we know that 10 people are behind us and we take all the fried plantains.
Oh, it's
No, I have to teach my son about proportionality, because, and just exactly using the buffet, he likes a particular thing, he'll take a lot of it.
Okay.
And like there are other people who like it too.
Remember them.
Remember them. So, Big Truck, I wish it were true that an eye for an eye was being practiced in Jamaica. What's been practiced in Jamaica is vengeance is mine.
Right. Say it the Lord.
No, say it the offended. We're taking our own vengeance and we're disproportionate. Taki says, mangoes are probably the most blessed fruits with over 200 to 300 species. You know, he's speaking my language. I absolutely love mangoes, each unique in their own ways. I saw you both being enthused by the smell of that East Indian mango a while ago. Can I tell you, it is not East Indian. It is some mutated fruit person.
Bombay with
It's a mix of Bombay and cow foot.
Bombay and cow food.
Yeah, so that's like a stew.
Cow food is a mango? You mean those big mangoes? Yeah. Hayden, we call them.
Oh, but it smells delicious, I'm telling you. Oh, it's Percival. Heard it first, mango.
Yeah.
Claim it. Now he says he was in a similar space being knocked down by some pinkish yellow mango from Puerto Rico
Okay, in
with its
Jamaica.
own tasty sweet, no, unique mix of flavors. You know, I don't think I've had mangoes in Puerto Rico. Now that I think about it. And one of the things I try to eat when I'm in a new country, fruits.
I love that. I
Yeah.
love to experience the fruits of a
Yes.
country.
Yeah, that's how you actually get an experience with the soil. You can't mess with that. But we did go to China and were completely seduced by some succulent, seedless, what's that fruit again? Oh, wow. Lychee.
Oh, lychee. Okay.
Let me tell you, it barely have a seed. And the flesh of the thing, oh my God, it was delicious. But then we start to worry that it was made in a lab.
So if made in a lab, something wrong with that?
I don't want a seedless fruit. You want a seedless fruit? Let me see, what did we have in South Africa that we really liked? What did we get? Oh, and the like an Ortonique type orange that was absolutely delicious. The oranges, yeah. But we didn't see any mangoes in South Africa. It was winter anyway. Now, on the question of good leadership, says Taki, he says, doesn't the way how we conduct ourselves towards neighbors include in such? Of course, it does. You know, one of the things we don't talk about much is what is being called personal leadership.
Yeah.
Exercising leadership qualities over your own life. So when you are interacting with people, how you govern yourself, we tend to look at leaders only a distance removed from us, sitting in a high place, and we forget that we are leaders in our own lives. And in
That's
our,
the first thing, you know. You have to exercise
Leadership.
personal leadership
yeah, yeah.
before you can exercise leadership
Over anybody
Because if
else.
you can't lead yourself,
Yeah.
you're going to get a problem.
So it's beautiful when you see the little kids sitting in the kitchen with their dolls lined up or their toys in a row, and they're giving instructions and moving things around and organizing. They're practicing their
Yeah.
leadership skills.
Right, to become teachers.
Yeah, well, we don't want
I did-
parents. Wait, listen now, when you see a kid doing that, don't think they're trying to be teachers and smack it out of them, because that's
it
that's
don't
not
make
a
any
way to make a
sense.
living. Yeah.
Aye.
As regard our relationship with Haiti, the questions that arise now: why our governments did not embark on including their first language in our schools' education curriculum.
What is their first
You know,
language?
no, is he
French or-
asking?
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to
Yeah,
ask.
it's a mix of French and something else. But is he asking why we don't learn the language of our neighbors? Because that's a very relevant question. We should learn the language of our neighbors. We really should. And we treated Cuba as a closer neighbor. We were
Cuba.
learning
Spanish, yeah.
And it still makes sense to learn Spanish, and we should learn French in as much as it's necessary. So, yeah. People are learning Mandarin, and we're following the money.
Well, you say it, I don't mean.
Yeah, we're learning
Following the money.
Mandarin and German and European languages. Why recognize Haiti as a sovereign nation, yet ignore or fail to recognize the importance of their first language? Very well to in conjunction. Yeah, point well made. We should learn our neighbor's language because it shows an intention to trade and to have relationship and
With the person.
yeah, and to have cultural understanding. All right, so I showed the mango again and it got a wow. The mango is getting some good ratings. Let me tell you, and you guys need to come Jamaica and try that mango. Hold on a minute.
Big Chuck was here between July 7th and 12th. And I could not get me a good East Indian. Because I never asked me, Big Chuck, if you did get in touch with us, would I give you get a good East Indian mango for you?
But we weren't here. You could have, if you had checked. Lowell and I weren't here because we were traveling at the time.
Yeah, but you could have asked.
But Percy was here.
And I could have get nice East Indian or Julie mango or anyone you wanted. Hush, Big Chuck.
Well, I serve him right. Serve him right.
But Jamaica's
He
a
should have
whole variety.
visited with
You have a
you.
mango them called Sweetie.
It's a teeny mango that you just
You
pop
put
in
it
your
in
mouth.
mouth, sweetie. Oh my
Exactly.
lord. No man, no
No, the varieties of mangoes and the Jamaican fruits, excellent. I can't, let's see, except for that old time papaya, the one that we call pawpaw, that had
the big papa
a
that when it,
musty, horrible smell.
you sure papa yet talk about?
Yes, man, not stinking too.
Like a stinking
The
towel.
old time, the big one that was yellowish, and it got some virus. The trees got a virus
And then
and
they kill
died
them
out.
off. Oh,
Or I said tree got some virus. You know, many theories about how Jamaica's agricultural sector has
yeah.
been affected by foreign intervention.
Because it been brought here.
Yes, the palm tree, the coconut trees,
You
the
remember
papaya
that?
is one of
Something
them.
yellow, what they call it? It was a yellow that
Remember
kill off the coconut.
some yellowing
Yeah.
disease. Yeah, yeah.
I said
Oh
it, and you
wow.
go to you'd go to like Portland and St. Mary, which has a lot of coconut. I just see these
Drying down like
just see,
plague.
yeah, it just
Plague.
died right. You see the trunk going up and everything, and you just see just dying right in front of your eyes
Yeah.
because of the virus or the
You see, just
fungus.
like how we see desert rivers popping out in the desert.
Yes.
The Bible have whole heap of thing about the plague that killed the crops
Yeah, that's true.
for
Yeah.
our disgraceful behavior in relation to some things. So I have to thank God there's repentance. Percival
And there's mercy.
and mercy. I was having a conversation with someone about the slowing down of the economy in China. Was it with you?
No.
Oh.
It just came out this today.
No, not just today. From the stories have been coming out, even from that huge real estate
Oh,
investment
we
firm.
saw that, and it's still, and it had to write off billions.
Billions, yeah.
Yeah.
And now there's a picture in today's paper. I thought it was the American flag reinterpreted. A sea of cars colored red, white, and blue. New cars wait to be transported on a dockyard in Yantai, eastern China's Shandong province.
Why?
China's July exports tumble by double digits, adding to pressure to shore up flagging economy. Putting on the table a conversation on what is the global impact of
China?
the Chinese economy. I mean, we know that if something happened to the north of us, as they say, they sneeze, we catch cold. But we saw during the pandemic when what's been romantically called supply chain the delays, we saw the impact that it had on everything, cost of fuel, housing costs, because as it became
People
more
saying
difficult,
it was contrived, but anyway.
escalation of prices in everything, whether it is
Contrived or
contrived,
not. It
manipulated,
affected, yeah.
or the impact was felt and the impact is real. Kind of take me back to what our sister Rachel was saying in her last call to us. When it comes down to it, you can survive on old clothes, little bit of new things. You don't need a new thing. People wandered in the desert for 40 years, it is said. Never changed their shoes or their clothes one time. But you need food.
You need food
And
to sustain your body.
unless you seriously go back to your creator God who will heal your body, you need medicine. Here's Big Chuck boasting to us about, I was all over from Kingston to Maypen. By the way, Kingston to Maypen is not all over.
Tell him, please.
Yeah, but Lowell, you cannot complain that you avoided us because you were not here. Yeah, you avoided Percy.
And, as
Big Truck, did you attempt to contact the Morning Connection? Please say that. Let us know. Waiting to hear from you. But back to China. The impact on our cost of living is real. It's real.
No, it's
And
gonna.
we're seeing this is double digit, and it's serious double digit, and it's not like
is-
11. It's 14.5%. Wow. So here, it plunged by 14.5% in July compared with a year earlier. A year earlier was pandemic.
No man, 2021. Yeah, 2021.
But 2021 was pandemic time. When
Yeah.
did it?
2022. We're 2023. We're 2022.
Yeah.
So we're
But in 2021, we were in the middle of the pandemic. Yes.
2021. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and during the pandemic, everything slowed for everybody. And after the pandemic, when things were supposed to rebound with greater energy because there's pent up demand, their exports have fallen by 14.5% over the previous slow period. Even our Jamaican geniuses are saying how we have rebounded remarkably well.
You know, that's why I love you.
You know when
You're dramatic, and you
hear what the Jamaican geniuses.
yes.
Yes, when a true genius is born.
But it's gonna have impact. It's
Yeah.
interesting. I wanted to point that out to you.
Gonna have impact on Africa, on the West, completely the West. We have all grown very lazy. Yesterday, Elizabeth Morgan was writing about how our little souvenir tokens, the craft items,
China.
when you spin it over, it's saying made in China. And I used to say maybe the label was made in China.
Really?
Because I can't believe that our little craft items are coming from China.
Why not? That's not a new phenomenon.
How is it
That's
a
been
craft
there.
item if it come out of
To
an
check.
industrial machine?
Don't make no sense. at
Craft
all.
is still done by hand and expressing the imagination. It is not, it's not an industrial process. Once it's an industrialized process, it is not craft, may I just say. And okay, we're crafted into a break.
Make a call. The person from Tuna.
Welcome back. All right, we're heading into the final segment. Oh, I do hope these guys get here. But a special treat for you. Yes, it is for you. When you hear it, you might doubt that it's your treat, but it's for you. Percival and I have asked JD's Urban Pub to bring us a plate of dessert, something that they do here, so we can show you. Since the mango did so well, we figure more food at the table. Might, and we'll have to taste it and let you know what it is like.
You're not being nice.
So it's a treat just for you. We're making a sacrifice here because Percy don't eat a lot of sugar.
Yeah, I can't. Yeah.
Yeah. So anything you take. Oh, that means perhaps I have to take one for the team.
Yes, you can take one for the team. And the producers say take one for
the Many offers here to take one for the team. But when I was here, I came here on Tuesday for a meeting and they had gizadas.
Oh, geez.
Yeah, I love a coconut treat like anybody else. They had gizadas and other little, delectable sweet treats that you normally see around Independence time. And I said, hey, let me just check if they still have. I will bring it out for you and just, make the enormous sacrifice of eating some and describing it to you. So that is to come. But I got to share this because Big Truck was in Jamaica, one of our most troublesome writers, Big Truck. All of his comments are loaded. When I first met Big Truck labeled me as a PNP activist and some other unpleasant things. But we have grown to love him. What I say, as only a mother can.
Only a mother can love you.
And Big Truck was in Jamaica and did not visit the Morning Connection. But the reason he's telling us is hilarious. He says he could not pick up Best 100 FM on the radio because he was driving a car which had a Chinese radio and, oh my goodness, and the language on the radio, all he could get was Mandarin.
Serve him right.
That's a real shame. Oh my goodness. All right. So I'm holding it up because this treat is definitely for me.
So quick to jump and gone for it?
Yes, because it's
what is that, potato?
It's sweet potato pudding
and cornmeal pudding.
And cornmeal pudding with the cherry on top. The only part not Jamaican is cherry. But yeah, I'm sure a Jamaican paid for it. But
they say the skululups. So the
custard. The custard. All right, Percy has taken it over completely.
No, this is so soft and nice.
You get to go first.
No, man. Ladies before gentlemen.
Unless the lady insists.
No, I'm insisting that you will go first. So this is the potato.
Mm-hmm. All right, just so we're still being pandemic perfect because we're gonna use one fork. So I'm taking a piece so I can taste it. Mm-hmm. First impression. A little taste of salt, which just wakes up the tongue. Oh, I think the producer is ready to try. Guys, it is delicious.
This is potato pudding.
This is the sweet potato pudding. And it has the right texture, just a little coarse, so like somebody grated it by hand with that metal thing.
And there's coconut in it. Like it was
the coconut is delicious. All right, we can't tell you any more about it. We need to enjoy it. Thanks to JD's Urban Pub, who answered my request, and they brought me the perfect Jamaican dessert.
Which is on the cornmeal.
Sweet potato pudding. Made with what the Americans call yams.
I try to understand how they...
We didn't get napkins. So we do have a guest at the table. This guest is being cannibalized.
Being eaten.
Yes, because some of us, we definitely relate to sweet potato pudding. The other one is a cornmeal.
But you see, Big Truck is raising a very important beef that I've had for a very long time. You go...
Mr. Producer, please get napkins.
You go into...
My fingertips are
places, the cars, and guess what happened? The instructions, the ingredients are in Spanish with no English.
It's because you're eating the pudding while you talk about ingredients. Yeah, the manual. It's not the
No,
ingredient.
no, but I'm saying you go into the supermarket.
Oh,
You
you
see,
switched.
yeah,
You came out of the car and
right.
went into the
Yeah,
supermarket. Okay.
but it happens with this.
Yeah, and the Bureau of Standards had addressed those issues. I
But they
think
still
it's just very disobedient
no, but they need to
importers
enforce it.
who are
If
bringing
they
things.
started, you
Yeah.
see, they just enforce and say this.
Yeah, but
Is
this
it
is one of the
packaging?
ways that citizens help, because when you purchase something and it's non-compliant, you can't tell what's in it because it is in a language that is
Okay,
not the language of the country. You must report it, bring it in, say where you bought it, and then see what they do. Because in truth, they will not catch everything.
True.
Some of us are bringing things in our suitcases.
No,
That
but
is our importation. And it ends up on the shelf, or it ends up in a consumer environment, retail environment.
no, but my real concern.
All right, let me
is-
put the mango beside it. Lowell has put a camera on the. So does that mean we can't eat it? Because
Him
it's
say-
now a guest in its own right. Here you go. We have a guest that we're eating slowly. Napkin for you, sir. Oh, you got another fork? We need another fork. All right, I don't think those guys are gonna make it, Lowell, except to yeah. But okay. Because we're getting close to the end of the program. Percival and I were talking. Lowell, you'll have to report on the cornmeal pudding. Is it cornmeal pone, Percy? Lowell has very kindly cut it into pieces.
It's a little bit, yeah.
To be considered and to be continued. What is the impact of this slowing down, this lag in Chinese productivity, Chinese prosperity? What does it mean for the rest of us when their economy goes into anything that looks like a fall? What does it mean?
Recession.
Yeah, what does it mean for the rest of us? Because so many things are tied to them. One thing we know for sure, food security for Jamaican, it remains the same as urgent yesterday as it was, and even more urgent tomorrow if we don't do anything about it. And for me, that's the biggie, because we are so fortunate based on our general climatic conditions.
Anything can go in Jamaica.
But not only that, with this kind of good weather all year round, nobody can say, boy, winter, we don't have no oil, we're dead. I mean, now it's hot. You can just step outside and catch a breeze.
And catch a breeze.
Most anywhere you can survive. So the most important thing for us, our singular focus must be on food security.
Yeah. And let's tie it in with leadership.
And if we're eating better too, Percy, we won't be sick as much and we'll need less medicine.
I won't be obesity, which is a non-communicable disease, which is related to hypertension, related to hypertension, obesity, those things. But if you are eating well, it helps in terms of have a spin-off in terms of what happens in terms of the general health of your population. So I must commend the Ministry of Education, Ministry of Health. They've been pushing the whole thing about exercise and eating right.
Well,
But again, leadership. And the question is, when you have so many issues that
please give it back.
impact on you, that you have to find out what it is that you need to do that is going to bring about the greatest release impact. And I think that if we have good leadership, to go back to where we started this morning, in terms of leadership that you can trust, leadership with integrity, leadership who are not afraid of speaking the truth and saying this is what the reality is, knowing that some of the time people are saying, but that cannot put food on my table. But that not putting food on your table, now you have to put in policies and measures that will ensure the long-term sustainability of things that are related to food security. We can't keep running away from that. Because we import a lot of stuff. I don't know, how do you feel about that?
Well, I want to give you a word on the on the pudding.
Yes.
Did you try it?
Yeah.
It's excellent. Cornmeal pudding is not my favorite.
But this one passed the test.
This one has passed a test that I didn't even know I could administer.
Okay. Because you'll not eat it even to add, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What is your feedback on the pudding, Mr. Producer?
He's having great fun. He's feeding, he's enjoying it. And was begging him, beg you please.
All right, and the men have eaten off the sweet potato pudding. I just wait until Pastor took the last piece. I
That's
got
why
one bite, and I spent so much time reporting on it that while I was reporting, the two men just decimated the pudding. It's delicious. If you're in Jamaica, please make sure that you visit us either when we're
JD's
here
Pub.
at JD's Urban Pub or, in the studio. Give us a call. Taki says, oh my, the presentation of that cornmeal pudding is eye-catching. The flavor must be great. As Pastor ate that slice away so quickly. That is true. Lowell,
Oh, well, look.
look who's hustling through. Look at the two of them. Did you pack up? All right, we're going down to the wire now because you're here. Look at that. You have to jump in quickly. Well, all right. So we're doing it in an unorthodox way. You will see the producer miking our two guests because we have like 10 or 15 minutes to go. So we have one person, one of our listeners says that the bartender, action-packed. But he said bartender was an action-packed episode. He says, yes, I loved the bartender when it was running back then. I don't know if it's still available. So getting ready to spend a few minutes with us are Orville Hall, producer, director, writer, entrepreneur, dancing genius, and his partner, Shelley Callum. We have another famous Callum that visits with us occasionally, So you're keeping up the standard of the family. And at table, Pastor Percival Palmer, enjoying the sweet potato pudding gone, but the cornmeal pudding, a little bit of it is left. Because we were just whetting the appetite before you two came. Good morning.
Good morning.
All right, we good now, Mr. Producer? Orville. In 2 minutes, yes. They have their own genius quality. In 2 minutes, what's going on?
Oh, well, we had a late night. We were filming until late and editing until late. We spend most of the days on the road.
Yes.
Dealing with the bartender because we shoot daily. So that's what's been happening.
So you've done some uploads since morning?
Yes.
Wow.
Yes. So we do 4 uploads a day every day since January. And we did our morning uploads already.
The morning upload times are 7 a.m. and 7:15.
So you got up after your 2 o'clock turn in to do your,
we
or you
we
set it
off-
and
we
time
send
it?
off- Yes, we send it off to a
Like
director
a
of the company
production,
that deals with
okay,
the,
that,
the sound laying.
and he does the actual uploads.
Yes.
All right. So what's the name of your company? We have to be quick and agile with this
it's
one.
Expressions JA production. It's fairly young in terms of being formalized. But the expressions, dance expressions, has been around for 23 years.
How many?
23.
23, so it's in college and about to graduate.
Oh yes.
Graduated already.
Yeah.
Yes, I was about to say.
Most persons would know you for what?
Dancing, yeah.
Yes.
First,
No,
you
yes.
I know it, yeah, man.
and Shelley.
He knows a
Dynamite,
good deal.
dynamite.
Yeah.
Right.
And you too, Shelley, dancing as well. That's the
Dancing
start.
as well. That's where
Okay.
I started. Well, I started doing cosmetology, and then I went over to the performing arts department. So practically, yes, dance is what they know me for.
So does your cosmetology skills come in good on set?
Oh yes, makeup. Oof.
You do makeup?
Yes, I've
Yeah.
always wanted to do theater makeup. You know that Michael
Dramatic.
Jackson Thriller.
Yeah, right.
Ah.
Right, that's the kind of makeup I like to do. So when it comes to yeah,
So
Yeah,
so the
yeah,
bartender has gone.
And I'm gonna say,
I mean, we don't have Halloween
I
here,
don't guess
but
what it's not that. I don't think it's Halloween. It was more like the suspense and the drama
Yeah,
for the Halloween.
yeah. Well, we have
aha.
some moments in there that would look Halloween-ish as we explore every different area. But we don't, as it relates to Halloween, it's not something that
Yeah.
we,
Well, it's
yeah.
not of our culture, but with
So-
a lady beside you who want to do Halloween stage makeup, I figure she'll work it in some.
Oh, definitely.
Who's the bartender?
The bartender, well, the bartender is a group of persons, really. It started out with about 5 persons, where the whole concept of it was a young lady who came into work as a bartender, but she started having a liking for the owner of the bars,
Gentleman.
gentleman.
Dear
And
Lord.
then the entire drama spin off from there. And this is something that we started, I wouldn't say by accident, but during the pandemic when we realized that this thing is going to hit us, myself and Shelly just came off a 5-country Asian tour, and we started to do some online dance classes. But then we realized that we have a YouTube channel that we've not engaged, and there was somebody that was telling us that you can earn from YouTube. You have a lot of content, you need to use it. So when we were at Exed Community College, Shelley and myself, we graduated as dance majors, but drama minors. So
So you
knew
pulled for the
something- so we
minor.
pulled for the minor. And said, let's see if we can put some things on the YouTube channel. We started with short skits. So we were doing different short skits, Dog Name Your Supper, a couple other things, and one was called The Bartender.
So who were the actors in these skits? You and Shelley?
Myself and Shelley, and 3 other members of the group who were 4 members at the time. So we started these short skits. And I just picked up my phone and started shooting things.
Okay.
The first shoot we did, they were not aware that they were on camera. So we set the camera on, because we have a culture of procrastinating sometimes.
Aha, you gotta
I
throw the
recorded it.
baby out the nest.
Yes, and I showed it to them, and they said, "Sir, we'll carry some costumes tomorrow. We'll start shoot." Some I said, "No,
We
shoot
started.
the first one, Dog Name Your Supper, and the upload was on the 22nd of April, 2020." And
All right, so guys, go look for Dog Name Your Supper.
yeah, man, just go ahead.
April 2020. I'm gonna hunt it down.
And I mean, we can also assist them with that. When you go on YouTube, all you need to do is just go on Expressions JA's YouTube channel. There's
Type in
you go
dog.
in the playlist.
Yes.
And the playlist labels, we have a playlist as the Bartender 2023. The bartender, this is listed.
Yes,
in
it's
every
well organized, so you
yes,
can find what you
whatever
need.
you're looking for.
Yeah.
And we have other shows on there. We have one called One Apartment, and One Apartment was 5 episodes. It's a short playback, and we were looking at different things that we were looking at abuse,
Domestic abuse in the
domestic
home.
abuse, and we
Yeah.
look at mental health, and I think that is one of the things that keep Bartender going, because we tackle so many different issues
That are
current
relevant
and
and
relevant.
yes, yeah.
People can just
Politics. You look at the politics of the day.
oh yes,
Ah.
oh, yes, oh, yes.
How is it fit into the Jamaican taste bud? How are we loving it? Percy hadn't heard about
Well,
it until today.
Yeah, well, we started the page with 4,500 dormant subscribers. We had to wait them up. And by 2020, we were at 30,000, and we're presently at 142,000.
And growing.
So
And growing.
So that should.
And the
that
viewership,
was-
I mean,
the viewership is excellent. The viewership is, we're now getting 4 million views a month.
See?
So we're getting a
Wow.
million views a week. So yeah, so they're into it. What they were very upset with us when we
Made
went
the
back
change.
to doing 5 minute
Mm-hmm.
scenes.
Because we used to, at first, we used to give them like half
full
an hour,
episode.
45 minutes.
Yes.
And when we come to the
That's
finale,
long, man.
yes,
Young
man.
man.
So YouTube is its own university, so it will give you breakdown. So when we looked
when you
at the
did the
analytics,
yes.
it showed us that the average watch time for a 45 minutes piece was 20 minutes or 23 minutes tops. So if we give them 4 uploads a day, they're getting 20 minutes.
They get 20 minutes,
for
right,
5
yeah,
minutes, and sometimes
yeah.
it's for our members as well. You know?
Yes.
We want
Spin-offs from the
spin-offs from the
bartender.
bartender.
And we
All right.
also incorporate dance classes as well.
Yeah.
So that's for the
So
members.
dance is not
They-
left out of what you're
no,
doing.
No.
So
Once a
they'll see
dancer,
behind
always
the-
a dancer.
always a dancer.
Always a dancer. What can we expect coming up soon? Because I know we're like on the wire. But is there anything you're planning that the public can get in on?
What we've been doing and we continue to do is unearthing talents. We have a platform that can help to expose you.
And you're using unknown people as your
Oh,
actors.
yes.
You're
Oh,
just plucking
yes. Yeah,
a lucky
plucking.
youngster off the
You're good
street.
leaders.
Yes.
You're good leaders. You're sustaining. You're sustaining.
Yeah.
Making succession. You're saying,
Yeah. So we've been doing work in the Spanish Town area, Franklin Town area, up Warwick Hills side. We've been doing work in that area because there are a number of we came through a vein where we got especially except community college where our mandate was to work with the inner city community
yeah.
kids, and we realized how well they express themselves through the arts, who were not necessarily very academic, but they got academic because we use the arts to be
As the driver
Yes, as the
to
driver.
awaken their
Yes,
interest
so
in
it's something
yes.
that is, and
Oh.
another major thing we would like to
Yes.
talk about is that theater expressions, that's another arm of expressions JA. We have an accredited dancehall dance program. It's
Okay.
accredited by heart. Where we're going to be training 240 dancers over a 3-year period. And we will now have youngsters accredited in dancehall.
All right. So you know what I want us to do? I want you to come again and we talk about this accredited program and call some youngsters to it.
Oh, yes.
Pastor
Definitely.
Percival is
So-
very big in, he's connected mentorship groups and school community and so on. So we can actually,
We need the cohorts. They are already paid for.
yes,
Okay.
You just need to come and
20,
do the
25
program.
students. that
Wow.
will commit to
doing the
3 months,
program,
to
3 months of- right.
And you'll be accredited.
Yes.
And I can tell you, well, heart accreditation is not just local, but it's
it's international. Yes, yeah. Well, to be continued. I'm so sorry. So goodbye from the disappearing cornmeal pudding. Artisans. Thank you to those who have joined us online. Let me see if there was a question here. Good morning, Orville and Shelley, the bartender. That is from one of our listeners
Blessed.
overseas.
Respect.
Yeah. Oh, all right, Taki, we'll talk about the black mango tree. We really got to go. Exactly 10 o'clock. Bye. Have a great week.